Check, check. What up, y'all? Welcome into Clippers Talk After Dark. After one of the most difficult losses suffered in franchise history, is that taking it too far? They didn't lose the series. If they do, this is probably what people are going to remember. They also were down by 22 in the fourth quarter. And, maybe should have lost this game. And it was the basketball gods saying, nope, we're not going to let you come back with the way you guys played for 3 quarters. Not happening. Was it that? Or did the Clippers just make some more mistakes down the stretch after giving themselves an opportunity to steal a win away from the Denver Nuggets? That's what it would have been. They would have stole this victory. I think down 22 at the time that they would have been the biggest playoff comeback in NBA history. To be down 22 that late? Maybe. No, I do think that's the case. I don't think they were down by 22 ever in the fourth quarter when they came back down 31. But you know what? Who cares what I think? After this difficult loss, let's hear from Coach Lou, and then Chuck Mockler will join the show. Appreciate you guys for being here. You knew we had to do some Clippers Talk After Dark.
Died. You've been this for a long time. Describe everything that happened all the way to the end.
The whole game.
You got it. Give us a synopsis of what you saw.
Yeah, I hate that stupid word, physicality, but they were more aggressive to start the game. I thought they picked their pressure up defensively, kind of sped us up, and then just talk about it. In the timeouts at halftime, just being poised, getting to our spots, spacing, and not letting them speed us up. And at halftime, we had 10 random possessions, and we scored 0.20 on those possessions. Then when we got it stuff, we really did what we were supposed to do. And so just not fighting the pressure. I thought he was aggressive, like, they were supposed to be being down 2-1. And we didn't really meet that intensity until the fourth quarter, And so that's just a lesson for us. Like, just stay the course, do what we're supposed to do, continue to execute like we've been talking about. Don't get bored with the process. If they're going to blitz us or they're going to do those things, you've done your job. Just get off the basketball, make the right play. And I thought their aggressiveness kind of took us out of what we've been doing. So 2-2, they're a good team, great team. Won a championship a couple years ago. So they're not going to get in. Like, we got to beat them, and that's okay. So go to Denver on Tuesday and be ready with not really a new game plan, but a new mindset of what we need to do. And I thought, D.A. did a good job tonight. I thought he did a good job of mixing stuff up. And they hit us with some different things. And like I said, we'll be ready for next game. But our mentality is like, listen, we understand how we got to play. We know the blueprint. So now we just got to do it.
The last
Thing is, they had the blueprint. I think after game 1, they've had the blueprint. Why don't they adhere to it? Why don't they stick to the game plan? Because they were making it harder with their uber aggressive defense, and they were really aggressive. I noticed it immediately. Denver caused a turnover on the first Clippers possession by Kawhi. Where was the Clippers' intensity? Why did they come out so flat? Why did they wait to get down 22 to start playing harder? That's what's baffling to me. I was frustrated throughout the first quarter. I was extremely frustrated by the end of the first quarter with Harden just throwing that ball away with 1.9 left. That led to that Jokic 3, and I think led to Jokic having the night he did. That told him, I'm good. I'm back. I'm in a zone. but this Clippers team just eased their way into a playoff game. Offensively, they were brutal. They weren't executing after executing beautifully last game. Just take what the defense gives you. They can't stop their pick and roll. They couldn't in the fourth as well. Why weren't they executing earlier?
Shot, the dunk.
Things we've been talking about for 5 years, offensive rebounds. And you get beat on the offensive rebound. But, Jokic shot an airball, wasn't really expecting that. Brown cut to the middle of the floor, and, James and Norm was kind of in between trying to, check with him, and Gordon made a hell of a play, so, it is what it is.
It seemed like Nicole really just made an effort to get in that restricted area to score buckets, and you guys, what was it about his effort tonight?
The same effort we told you before the game and after last game. He's going to be aggressive, and he's going to look to score the basketball. When his team is down and, they're fighting for their lives, he's got to be the one that controls the game and do what he does. And like I said, 36 and 21, 8 assists. He was aggressive, and so that's what, great players do. And we expected that, and so just got to be ready for, ready for game 5. They played a good game, and in the fourth quarter, we saw some things that we can do differently. But for the most part, like I said, we got to come out and meet their aggression and start the game, game 5.
You had this great opportunity to meet it in game 4, go up 3-1. Why didn't they meet it? Why didn't they match their intensity from the get-go? I don't understand. I tried to tell you about the 3-point shooting last game. How much did that just cover up for things? They shot it so well from 3. This time they didn't. When Nico and Chris Dunn combined to go, 2 of 12 from the outside, that's a problem. I'm just perplexed by how the Clippers came out so flat to start this game.
3 of the 4 games now have been decided by basically one possession at the buzzer. How much does that maybe, obviously possessions are important, but stress the importance of every single possession just matters?
Yeah, we stress it a lot, and taking care of the basketball. We only had 10 turnovers, and we just didn't get the shots that we've been getting, throughout the course of the series. And we took some shots that we don't normally take as well, some questionable shots. But you got to be better. Just, stay with it. They're going to give you the answers to the test. And if you play the right way and do what we're supposed to do, we're going to get great shots.
Ty, what allowed you guys to get back in the game in the fourth?
Honestly, it seemed like to me they were impatient offensively with what Coach Lou said there. They'll give you the answers to the test. The defense will tell you what
shots
to do.
That we don't normally take as well, some questionable shots. But you got to be better. Just, stay with it. They're going to give you the answers to the test. And if you play the right way and do what we're supposed to do, we're going to get great shots.
They've been getting great shots out of the pick and roll every single damn time. A caller tonight was like, "Oh, I saw they were doubling Kawhi and Harden more." I was like, "What?" They've been doubling them. You know what happens? They find the open man. Now, some of it was missed shots. Chris Dunn, Batum. But some of it just felt like they weren't executing their offense. Coach Lou said at the half, they had, 10 random plays out there? Brutal. It's just such a tough loss.
Ty, what allowed you guys to get back in the game in the fourth quarter?
Picked up our intensity, being more aggressive, showed some different looks, played a little zone, put Zoo on Gordon a little bit, just mixing it up a little bit. And kind of got him, off guard a little bit, kind of surprised him, and was able to take advantage of it. Was able to get stops, play faster, play in transition, and then was able to execute offensively what we've been doing, the last 3 games. So the fourth quarter is when we really executed and did what we're supposed to do.
He's frustrated. He knows they can get good looks all the time against this Denver defense. Why was James Harden so passive early on? You could say the same. Kawhi just wasn't hitting for the most part. Harden wasn't even taking shots. Baffling.
Tied to come back from 22 points down, take the lead, but lose it like that. Does that change kind of the mental, emotional thought on these couple of days off?
No, I mean, it's part of the game, it's the playoffs. And so every game is different, every opportunity is different. And so like I said, it's 2-2 going back to Denver. We feel good that, we can beat this team. And so, it is what it is.
Ty, that 16 seconds left, you had the ball and shot clock was dead. What were the process of going quicker and making sure you scored versus making sure that there was not going to be another possession for Denver at the end of regulation?
Because we were down.
It's the same reason that I thought winding down the clock for that Kawhi game winner, that's not good process. Because if he misses it, game's over. Instead of taking that shot earlier, had you done that against the Kings, even though it went, so everybody's like, hey, it's great, all's well that ends well. To me, I'm like, why did he run the entire clock out? Why would you have him run the entire clock out? And that wasn't Coach Lou, that was B. Shaw. Because if he misses, you can't play the foul game. You don't have a chance of an offensive rebound. That's why you go for it earlier to leave time on the clock. So that you get a tip in if you miss, or you can play the foul game if you miss. That is the right move. I have absolutely no issue with them getting that quick too. And it was James Harden going left again like we saw in game 1 to tie the game. This time he missed. Ivica Zubac tipped it in.
And so you want to take a shot and go. If you don't, you can foul and get another possession. So we wanted to go quick, score the basketball, which we did, and then we had to get a stop, which we did, but give up offensive rebound. So, yeah, getting extra possessions is what it's all about when you're down. And so attacking early, we don't score, we can foul, and then, try to get another possession if they miss a free throw. And we executed really well. It's boxing out at the end, and he got a dunk at the end of the game.
I have no issue with the play they ran to tie the game. That made sense to me. More from Coach Lou, and then Chuck Mockler's here.
Coach, early on it looked like they wanted to try to put a lot of pressure there on James. What did you guys do, kind of in the fourth quarter, kind of easing things up for him, for you guys to make the comeback?
Well, I thought we talked about it throughout the course of the game, and even in the second half, just letting someone else come up, initiate, and we can still get in our same sets without trying to wear James down. And, he's on the floor like we're a different team. So we can't allow the pressure to speed us up. We can't allow the pressure to take us out of what we're doing. And we can't allow the pressure to wear James out. So just, some things that we got to do different, like you said, and just so we can save him, for the game where he's not getting worn down.
Awesome.
Coach, you talked about giving this team a different look in the fourth quarter. You guys played a lot of zone in that fourth, and you took them out on a lot of stuff that they were successful in the first 3 quarters. What was it about that zone, especially having Kawhi at the top and his physicality and his anticipation? It just took him out. What was it? Why were you guys so successful with that zone?
Probably because they haven't seen it. I think they'll be more prepared for it next game. But just, give them a different look. They had a good rhythm going offensively. They were attacking us in different ways. So just to try to change the momentum of the game, through the zone out there. And it worked. But we didn't come up to win. But, we'll be better in game 5.
Thank you. Yes, sir. So I guess nobody's going to ask about not having Batum out there at the end or Ben Simmons or more rebounding. That's okay. Cool. Hey, here's Chuck Mockler from Cliff. Sorry, I'm frustrated, Charles. For
Why?
a myriad of
What
reasons,
could you be
including
frustrated
that.
about?
Like, nobody's gonna ask. Nobody's gonna. Okay, I think it's a fair question, but I love Coach Lou. I love the play they drew up to tie the game. I was surprised that Norm and James Harden, who have been getting out rebounded the first 2 games of the series specifically, that led to Denver, almost winning both those games, and they're the last line of defense again at the very end of a game like that. I don't get it. How are you feeling?
I don't know. I'm just as frustrated. That was no one should have to watch their team lose by an oop in the playoffs one time, and we've now had to see it twice. At least the first time, like you said, Zubac was the one guarding the rim, but it was kind of indicative of the issues just getting out rebounded in general. Like this, I wonder if he was just caught up and they inbounded the ball quick. I don't know. I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated that DeAndre Jordan's dunk feels like the main difference in this a little bit. I keep going back to those minutes and not being able to like really do anything against that non-Jokic lineup early in the game.
Yeah, they went just +2.
You can't.
That's not enough.
No, like at all. The shooting, they got good looks. They couldn't fall. We talked about it last night. It's been a blur this series already, but like we talked about it last night. Like they shot 48% from 3 in game 3, and it was like, well, maybe that'll swing the other way, and it absolutely did. So I don't know. I'm frustrated. I love what Bogey did in this game. Weirdly, he was picking guys up at full court. He grabbed that offensive board. Like he was huge in spots, but the substitution is very frustrating. Lack of substitution is very frustrating.
Well, it's just they called timeout. There's 8 seconds left. You have to get a stop. I don't know if they thought he'd end up using the entire shot clock anyways, so they wouldn't need to get a rebound because Jokic is not going to let go of it until he knows that whatever happens, there's not going to be any time left. And it's a very unlucky play that went against the Clippers, of course, especially air balls on shots lead to stuff like this.
Wacky stuff. Yeah.
They do. I think even Aaron Gordon spoke about it post-game. That's how stuff like this happens. It wasn't a pass. Jokic admitted to that.
Of course he did. Yeah, that.
I guess his thinking afterwards, or when he was putting the ball up, he said, "This is going to be bad." That's what he thought. That's what went through his mind. This is going to be bad.
I thought it was going to go in. On just the way that the game had gone, and we'd already seen him hit one buzzer beater. I thought, oh shit, and then I thought, oh shit again, very quickly right after that.
I thought for sure live that there's no way the ball still wasn't touching his fingers. Now, some people are taking pictures and saying it was out of his hands. You can't tell for sure. And if you can't tell for sure, they're not going to overturn the call.
No, it's the closest play that you can possibly end a game on. And I don't think that's that much hyperbole. Like that is the closest play anyone who's watching has ever seen. Like to be honest,
like some people I think are being homers about this. Mark said, I still don't see how the refs called Gordon shot good. Ball was still in his hands when the buzzer went off. Like, well, I haven't seen a definitive photo that shows the ball still in his hands where you can tell for sure. Had they called it no basket, I don't know if they would have been able to overturn it the other way. It's one of those that's that close.
Yeah, well, I think HP Basketball of all people had a funny tweet. He said, 50% of my timeline who was rooting for the Clippers said that it didn't go in, and 50% of my timeline who was rooting for the Nuggets said it went in. It's that close. And I'm also not going to like the call and the dunk are a large part of why the Clippers lost this game. They shouldn't have been down 20 in the first place.
No,
like they looked bad. They were not as physical as the Nuggets to start this one. The Nuggets came out with something to prove, and they answered it.
That's honestly the highlight is the Aaron Gordon putback dunk, and that's what people are going to remember. But to me, I was very frustrated in the first quarter. I hated that turnover by James Harden throwing the ball cross court, trying to get it to Ivica Zubac with 1.9 seconds left. It goes way over his head. It just seems sloppy.
And Zoo was getting held on that like an insane amount. They could have called something because Jokic knew what would happen if that goes out of bounds, which is they get the ball on that baseline.
Yeah. And Jokic is a 3 afterwards. I'll say this. The officiating was wonky in that they let anything go in the first quarter. There was, I think, 1 free throw taken on an Ivica Zubac and one by the Clippers.
Mm-hmm.
Denver didn't get a free throw in the first quarter. Then in the second, they got 12. And a couple of those calls with Kawhi guarding Aaron Gordon, to me, were just like bizarre. They were let so much go, and then you called that?
It was very reactionary reffing, which is the worst kind of reffing, right? Which is, oh, we weren't calling it. We should probably step that up. And then you see that overcorrection. Some of the Simmons fouls, there was a lot of them. I thought he got kind of a weird unfair whistle. Zoo got mauled in the paint. I think it was like the second or third, and there was no whistle. It was frustrating. Clipper J-Dog 7 just said it, him getting hacked in the paint. Like, it was frustrating. There's a lot of frustrating ways to lose a game, and it felt like the Clippers encompassed all of them today.
But in terms of the stuff they could control, they came out flat. They did not come out with the same intensity or energy they had in the first 3 games of the series at all. You could see it immediately. They just looked slow. It looked like a 12:30 start. It was a 3 p.m. start. That's not an excuse. I don't give a damn about that stuff. Like, they have to figure that out. I didn't hear anyone say anything that it had to do with the weird start post-game. I was just saying that's the vibe I got immediately. And I was like, oh, no. Great. How long is it going to take them to get into this game?
Yeah, and I thought they should have been down. Like, you looked at the scoreboard at half, and you were like, we're only down 2? Like, which, hey, part of that feels good, but part of it is like, we should have been down by more than 2 at half. I mean, we saw what happened, right? They were down 20. Like, and I love what James Harden has done for this team, but, you know, his leadership kind of trickles down, and I thought that his lack of awareness of Christian Brown on the backdoor cuts was very evident today. He just, I think LA Clippers film had a tweet about it. He was like, how do we get that third and fourth quarter from James Harden and nothing before it? Like, him and Kawhi both, it was like, we need to still lock in. You know what I mean? Like,
I can live with some of the defensive mistakes. I know that's baked in with James Harden, but his lack of aggression coming out stood out more than anybody else because he only took 4 shots in the first half. Kawhi didn't make many. He was 4 of 11, but at least he took 11. How is James Harden only taking 4 shots? And nobody is in double figures. So it's not, oh, I'm deferring because somebody has a hot hand. Nobody has a hot hand. And he's still just not putting up shots.
And credit to as well, and this plays in the part of the Clippers not being focused or really locked in, whatever you want to use, specifically James Harden. What did Dunn took 2 fewer shots than Harden tonight? Dunn went 1 of 9. And Dunn getting 9 shots, I know we love Chris Dunn. I know his shooting has been good. Him taking 9 shots is a mark that the defensive game plan for the Nuggets worked in those scenarios. He took 6 threes. I don't care how well he's been shooting. He should not be taking 6 threes. You know what I mean? Like, there's other outlets. I'm not blaming Chris Dunn, but that is the defense that's how it's designed for Chris Dunn to get the last shot. And Harden taking 11 shots is insane. We're not going to win a series or games if Harden is taking 11 shots, unless, of course, like you mentioned, there's someone on a 40-point heater or something like that. But it was an incredibly frustrating afternoon.
Like, Kawhi ends up with 24 points. It's like, well, he had 10. He might have gone like 5 of 7 in the fourth or something like that. He did most of his damage when they made that comeback. And it was impressive, and it was crazy and, electric in the building and into a dome. And I think it would have been, had they completed the comeback, I think that would have been the biggest comeback by the biggest scoring margin ever in playoff history when you account for time left, because they were down 22. They weren't down 31 in the game, but they were down 22 with 10 minutes left. And then they had a lead after the bogey put back for the first time all game. That's like, we almost saw something extremely historic in this game. And I know maybe they would have stole it and they didn't deserve that game, you could say. But when they flipped the switch, it was unbelievable, the difference you could see with the team.
100%. It felt like the team that should have been out there the first 2.5 quarters or something like that. And that's where the frustration comes in, because it's just like, oh, that's the switch flipping. That's the bullshit that we've had to deal with this team in previous seasons, where it's like, oh, now they've decided to lock in. Now they've decided to be more serious in the half court offense. Stuff like that. Like, it's just incredibly, incredibly annoying.
Speaking of,
Yeah, we got
Luka Doncic got a timeout.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Copy and paste working overtime.
I mean, he's being annoying. He's not saying the worst things. I've seen worse in here over the last couple of days since this playoff series has started. It's honestly the least of my worries, depending on what they say. But the opportunity was there if you just come out and play with the same spirit and energy you did in game 3. I'm not saying you were going to win by 34.
Of course.
But it's pretty telling that the same team they just beat by 34, they could get down by 22 against the very next game in the very same arena. It's like, what team, how are you having this identity crisis of, we didn't match their intensity or physicality out there? It's like, it's the playoffs. Like, let's go. What's taking so long to ease into this? Why are they easing in at all? I guess.
Why are they easing it at all? Why is that even an option?
Some people are trying to blame Coach Lou for that. And while I've talked about the late game personnel out there, I think that's fair game. We all heard him pregame be like, we have to come out here. We know they're going to start fast. I can't remember the terminology he used, but he basically said we can't sleepwalk into this ball game. We have to be ready to go. He said all the right things. They knew out there. Like, I can't put that part on Coach Lou.
I don't know. I don't know what we can put. It just, what was it? The third? Jokic had 6 baskets in the third, and the Clippers had 5 as a team.
Yeah.
Like, it just. We talked about it yesterday, you, me, and Will, which was the Nuggets win by a supernova Jokic performance, which they absolutely got. He had an MVP response. They win by creating some chaos. There was chaos in this game in a lot of different ways, right? Like, there was a lot of chaos in this game.
Yeah.
And he got support. Michael Porter Jr. gutted the hell out of that game.
He did. They're going to use that as some inspiring performance if he's allowed to play in game 5.
Right. Aaron Gordon obviously fired up. Like, they got everything that they needed to win, and the Clippers were almost able to take it from them. But, like, God damn, it's the way that the Nuggets win is by the Clippers. Obviously, they need Jokic to win, and by the Clippers partially shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, and when people are talking about Dunn or Batum or Coach Lou, the first 2 guys I look at, Harden and Kawhi. If Harden and Kawhi play like that through 3 quarters, yeah, you're probably losing any playoff game, maybe against any opponent in the playoffs this year. I don't know. Like,
yeah,
how are you going to win that game? And they weren't great in the first half and somehow had it to within 2, but they continue not to play that well. And eventually, yeah, Jokic got on a real heater in that third quarter, where he might have had 13 or he might have had 15 or 16. And neither one of them was like, okay, I'm going to match what Jokic is doing right now. You got blasted and lost the quarter by 18.
Brutalized.
I was just waiting for one of them to be like, okay, I'm going to go now. To me, it almost felt like the way I saw the game starting, Chuck, and I have no idea what's in their mind or what the mindset was. I know what was told to them, but it looked like they were going through the motions of a team that was like, we know we're better, and eventually we're going to click in and figure this thing out and beat them. But for right now, they might be playing harder than us. We're the better team. We'll eventually figure it out here. And I hate that. It was like a 3-1 mindset, but it's 2-1 series lead. Like, you can't do that.
The mindset thing, I like what you said. Like, it's like, we for sure didn't, the way that the Clippers played, even if they would have won this game, to go back to what Ty said in practice yesterday, whatever day they had that, where he said that the Clippers need to go out and validate that win from game 3. Even if they would have won this game, it would have not have validated that win with how they played, right? Like,
they thought they would have gotten away with just being so talented that if they played hard enough and played well in one quarter, they would have beat them. And that they would have validated their own thought process if that's all we need to do against this Denver team because we're so much better. They're not. Not when Jokic is playing like this. Not even close. You feel a little rumble?
What's up?
Did you feel a rumble?
No.
Maybe it's just me.
I did pour a fairly large post-game drink, so maybe there was an earthquake. I just haven't felt it yet, but
maybe it's me stomping my feet and still being so frustrated because
this one stings. We have to sit with, sorry to interrupt, but we have to sit with this shit for 2 days. And the Nuggets get to sit with what they earned, which they absolutely earned. Like, this isn't, they were the better team in this game today.
Yeah.
They had the best player on the floor. They probably had the second best player on the floor. We have to sit with this for 2 days. And I know and I hope at the same time that it is eating away at the Clippers players. And because that's what it needs to do. Like you said, why is settling in even an option?
If you just match them with intensity, your talent should be able to pull you through and win the game. And having to ask a team to play as hard as their opposition in a playoff game and come out with that physicality, that just shouldn't be happening. I don't get that.
The thing that's difficult too is there was no stops for the first 10 minutes of this game. And so we couldn't get, the rotations got thrown off a little bit. And it felt like that paired with the lack of kind of intensity, whatever you want to say, just the Clippers couldn't. It's like when you have like you're playing with a little train or something and you have the front right wheel and the back left wheel are on the tracks, but the other two aren't. It felt like that's what the Clippers were doing the whole time, just like power sliding along, trying to correct it. And they did for a little bit and then fell asleep. Maybe Ty Lue fell asleep at the substitutions, and Harden absolutely fell asleep of saying, oh, where's Aaron Gordon on this crazy turnaround from Jokic? Sorry, I'm getting fired up.
It's just, you're up 2-1 in the series, not 3-1, not 2-0, not 3-0. How can you get complacent? Especially with how loud that crowd was to start the game before the Clippers came out that flat.
The crowd was great also. I do think we need to, being around that crowd when the momentum was swinging in the fourth, I will never forget that feeling of the crowd. That is the good thing I'm going to try and think about the next 2 days. I'm going to try and not think about too is we had a horrific bench performance in this game.
Not as bad as them, and they still won.
Oh shit, you're right. But yeah, I'm looking at the box score and it's just making me frustrated.
The two going 1 of 6 from 3 is an outlier.
That's an anomaly. Absolutely. Derek Jones wasn't very good.
Yeah. Shooting, he didn't play a lot. But Bogey, like, this was progress. He hit his first shot. It was a 3-pointer on the left wing. They went to him right away. He shot it with confidence out there. That was good to see. And
he was huge. He was plus 22.
He was a part of the run in the fourth.
Crazy. That offensive rebound over Jokic and then putting it back up. If they would have won this game, that would have been one of the best moments in Clippers playoff history. And I don't think that's crazy to say.
No, yeah.
He didn't stop fighting. He was also picking guys up full court. It was like, oh, okay, sure, yeah, sit down in that chair, defend, man. Like
his defense was solid.
It made no sense.
Kawhi and James Harden having games like this. Again, Kawhi finishing with 24 does not tell the story. It's like their lack of assertiveness to start the game was tough to watch, especially James. Kawhi at least was taking shots. 11 shots in the first half is just fine.
And what is going on with the free throws? Not to sound like my old high school coach. They're free throws. It almost made things interesting in game 3 with how bad the free throws were. Like, we don't get very many of them. We should be converting them, right? When the Nuggets, had the most free throw attempts per game in the regular season. When you are tying them in free throw attempts during a game, you have to outshoot them. Because they did tonight. They both went 11 for 16, thank God. But like the Clippers, I don't know what it is. I don't know what the fix is. That has been frustrating too, is to see that kind of continue. And I don't think, someone's asking about suspensions. I don't think anyone's getting suspended. It's the playoffs. They're not suspending shit. Sorry, but
David Stern might be rolling over in his grave if they don't suspend Michael Porter Jr. for getting up off the bench and doing nothing, because letter of the law is the Boris Diaw Mari Stoudemire rule. The thing is, with free throws, Denver's been worse in this series.
yeah.
They
Jokic
shot the
missed a
exact
bunch.
same
Yeah.
tonight. They both ended up 11 of 16, and Jokic continues to miss big ones late in the game. They got away with it in this one. But speaking of late in the game, Brian's asking about the 5 that Coach Lou went with for the Gordon putback dunk. He said he don't understand it. The only thing, and Carlo was bringing this up too, is if they take the shot early in the 8 seconds and you don't have a timeout and they make it and you need more offensive players out there because there's 2 or 3 seconds left, so you wanted to have Norm and James Harden out there in case that situation, but that wasn't that. What was the chance of that going to be? Jokic was always going to dribble the air out of the ball, get it up without any time remaining. He left just enough time, I guess.
I leaned over to Will. I said, "Who do you think's taking the last shot for the Nuggets?" Well, and the Clippers didn't have a timeout, so even if they miss and we get the possession, we can't even call a timeout. So just put the defensive guys out there, because as you mentioned, there's less than a second on the clock. If they get that board, it's not like we're going to make any of that. We can't even advance the ball. We didn't have a foul to give. Like, it was brutal.
It's an error. You got to call it.
It's an oversight. It's absolutely an oversight.
I think Coach Lou is a very good coach, but that was a mistake. It still was a situation where he described it like they both kind of went to box out Christian Brown, who came up. And so James Harden and Norman Powell got crossed up on the box out, but those aren't the guys you want to be relying upon in that situation. Should it occur, it did. Again, they lost this game in the first 3 quarters.
Yeah.
Specifically the third. But you still had a chance at history in the end, and it just was so deflating to see the game end that way. And now, I don't know, would it have been better to just lose by 20 than that, Chuck?
Yes.
What do you think?
Yes. Give me a 20-point loss instead of having my heart ripped out every single time. In the playoffs, we've seen an alley-oop ruin this team before. Like, this is quite literally the worst case scenario for how this game could have gone. They didn't play well until they had to, and they tied the game up. And then they get smoked because of a bad rotation decision and because of things outside their control and things within their control. It was brutal. This is a gut-wrenching loss.
You know what else Coach Lou did that was different in this game? And I think I know why, but he took out Zoo around the 2-minute mark of the first quarter instead of around the 6-minute mark.
He had to. There was no stoppages.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, there was not a single stoppage. Russo was talking to me about that. Like, there was not a single stoppage to get subs in.
See, I was thinking maybe he knew they would empty the clip in this game, Denver, because they have to have it not go down 3-1. And he felt like he needed more minutes of Zoo next to Jokic in this game. I don't know, but that makes sense.
That was one reason I heard, and I was like, okay, like, sure. But if that puts us off the rails this much.
Yeah. Again, they were down 2 at the half, and you felt like they were playing miserably out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe a lot of this talk about the offense is overblown, and it's just make or miss stuff. And if Batum hits a few more shots, if Chris Dunn hits some of those open threes, if he gets 2 or 3 of them, we're having a different conversation.
He gets one of them. We just needed one, man.
Yeah. What did he ended up 1 of 6.
Okay, 2. Yeah, we needed 2 of 6. And I will say, someone in the comments was asking who said Chris Dunn was shooting well. The last 10 games of the regular season, he took more threes per game than Nico Batum, and he was shooting 50%. He's come back down to earth, very much so. But like, man. And now, like, where do they go from here? Other than to Denver, which I hope they do tonight.
Yeah.
So they can get
Was
used
that
to
the Kawhi response from you?
Well,
Where do you go from here, Kawhi? Where do you go from here?
Yeah, Denver.
Back to Toronto?
Just get acclimated. Like, we can't, that crowd, if the Clippers don't put this away in 6, I am terrified for what Game 7 in Denver is going to be like.
Yeah, I mean, it's a best out of 3, and they have home court now. It's everything that we talked about yesterday, with everybody talking about OKC. What do you guys think about this?
That was insane.
You
Anyone
fools.
who was looking
You
ahead,
absolute fools.
anyone who was looking ahead after
the amount of people that acted like
games.
this series was over when they were up 2-1 was alarming to me.
And I would say both sides, Nuggets and Clippers.
That's fair. But from the Clippers' perspective, I get being total doomer, but this
it's in our nature.
This wasn't even hopium. This was cockiness. Great kid, don't get cocky. Listen to Han Solo, guys. Like, you can't. It was 2-1. How could you be that cocky against a team that came back on you 3-1? Everybody was saying, "Oh, Clippers in 5, they're done." They kept looking at the score, winning by 34, and they just felt like that meant they won 2 games or something. It doesn't. That's not how it works. Every game tells its own story.
Ballmer should lobby that if you win by more than 25 games, by 25 points, you technically get 2 wins. He's got the money. He can make that happen.
And if you lose by 50 or whatever it was that Memphis lost by in game 1 against OKC, the series is over.
Series is done. You can't lose by 50.
Because it was.
Yeah. Wait, what's on your Diet Coke can?
Just Coke.
Oh, it doesn't say homie or anything? Okay, so they got the weird things.
I've seen those. I didn't get it.
So how are we feeling heading into, not to look too far ahead, heading into game 5?
Is this a team that has to have like heartbreaking losses to light a fire underneath them? They lost game 1, heartbreaking fashion, and they won the next 2. They lose this game, they win the next 2. Is that what's going to happen? Like, I just don't understand. Coach Lou's talking about this being a lesson for them tonight, and I'm like, we need to learn these lessons right now in a playoff series. Shouldn't they know what was at stake tonight in this game? It was a huge opportunity.
Yeah, the lesson should have been learned when we were coming out of the All-Star break and sucking. I thought we learned the lesson. I thought that we had aced that test, I guess, of the let's show up and play like we're supposed to play a while ago.
We did talk about this yesterday, did we not?
Yeah, we did it 48 hours ago. We showed up and we got shit done. We kept it simple in the half court. We boxed out, and now they just forgot about it. Like, damn. Like,
I mean, I didn't have Clippers in 5.
No, okay. I am still withholding some thoughts from that. Those takes were so frustrating to me. How can a series that's close be decided in 5 games? Because everyone was like, oh, it's a really close series. It's probably a coin flip. So it's going to go 5? 5 out of 7 is not a coin flip. That is a modern sweep. Like, that is a modern sweep. Because unless you're Memphis. Like, going 5, like, you don't even go 5. You get to 5. Like, that shit was crazy.
I did really feel like you have to defend home court in this series. Once you steal home court back, you can't relinquish it. You can't. And they were so good in game 3. I didn't think it would be a blowout. I thought they'd have to win a close, tight game.
Yeah.
Not in a fashion where they had to come down or come back down 22 in the fourth quarter like they did, where they just didn't show up for a while and then said, okay, we're going to win this now. Just say that 10 minutes earlier. Just do it 10 minutes earlier. Even when Coach Lou was talking about the zone they threw out to start the fourth quarter, it's like, why was it so effective? Probably because they hadn't seen it before. I'm like, could we have used it earlier when the game was
what?
closer? And so it gave them more time to come back, because if they had gotten into overtime, you feel really good with all that momentum with how they were playing that they could have won this game. It's not guaranteed, but if you just start sooner, why did it take so long? That's the tweet I kept putting out. Why did this take so long? Maybe I'm over.
No, you are not. I want to make that very clear right now. You are not overreacting to the fact that the Clippers should already be not settling in game 4 of a playoff series. Like, you are not overreacting at all. Just from my perspective, I don't think you're overreacting. I don't know. Because now also, we talked about this in the post-game stream after game 3. I said, I was like, is this a burn the tape game? Because everything went so well, is it a burn? It was a burn the tape game, because that shit's out the window now. Like, it's just, yeah.
Maybe they were feeling themselves a little too much. Maybe it was too easy for them in game 3, and they forgot how the first 2 games went and how close this really is, because they came out like, at some point we'll make a run and they just won't be able to respond. No, almost, but no. That's what kills me. Just the level. We just talked about it. This team had been so professional in their approach all season long. And to be outworked to start a game, to not match the level of intensity, and it showed. Their defense, I was like, wow, they're trying to set a tone so the ref's threshold of what a foul is goes way up. And they did early on. And I'm not saying the Clippers defense wasn't terrible, but offensively, it felt like, to me, Coach Lou said they had like a handful or a dozen plays in the first half that was random basketball where they ran no sets or anything.
Yeah, that was evident.
Right?
Hey, he got that one right.
So because offense specifically came so easy, because they shot so damn well in game 3, did they just think it's going to happen at some point? Offense is going to click in and we're going to take off? Because the defense was pretty solid. They only gave up 50 points in the first half. I don't have many complaints about their defensive effort. Just on the offensive end, they settled. They didn't go through and make every read. Like last game, they made all the right reads. If Joker's up, it's going to be James Harden finding that man in the roller, in the short roll. Like every time, whatever defense they threw at him, they just dissected it beautifully. Yeah. And tonight, that didn't happen. They seemed impatient almost.
I like that impatient. I like the impatientness, because also before the fight and everything, it was incredibly frantic pace. Like it was just like jittery. Like the Clippers never felt set in. Which again, I don't know how you don't feel set in after a massive win at home. The first win at Intuit in the playoffs. How do you not feel settled in? How do you not feel ready to impose your game plan? Because they should have been ready.
No, yeah. They kept saying, we have the blueprint. After game 1, it's like, if we do what we're supposed to do on the offensive end, we're fine. That was after they blew game 1. So they've had the blueprint the entire time, and they do have it. Indicative by the fact of how they played in the fourth quarter, when they just ran high pick and roll over and over again and just crushed them.
And the Nuggets also aren't doing anything new defensively, because their personnel is such is that you can't throw in new wrinkles. And I don't mean that's not a disrespectful thing to their ex-GM, I guess, but like they can only do so much defensively. This isn't a team that made its bones on multiple defensive looks that flummoxed the opponent, right? They're guarding the Clippers the same that they guarded them in the regular season. Like, for the most part, it's the same. They don't have a lot of options, which means that the Clippers need to shoot themselves in the foot and get flummoxed, and that will help the Nuggets so much. And we saw that happen tonight.
And what adds to the frustration is they didn't get some crazy outlier performance from any of their guys on the offensive end. They didn't have Pickett come in and all of a sudden just have a game out of nowhere.
No.
They didn't get that from Peyton Watson. They got 4 bleeping points off the bench. That's it. The only guy, and I think I brought it up on the end of the show yesterday, was, Christian Brown can play better. And he did. He still missed so many shots from the outside. He was 1 of 7, but he ended up with 17 points and is probably going to be more confident after this.
And he got fast break buckets. We saw wasn't the first possession of the game a Kawhi turnover to a Christian Brown, Christian Brown transition bucket. Like, that being the first bucket for Christian Brown, you're like, oh, well, shit. Like, now
Jamal
he sees
got the
what he
steal and
needs.
Missed it, and Christian Brown put it in. Hustle.
Yeah. And then, like, 3 plays later, there was an MPJ fast break layup, I think. Like, the cracks showed very early in this game for the Clippers.
Like, that Kawhi, that pass, that's what I mean. I know a lot of people will be like, oh, dude, you're just saying that because they lost. No, you could tell right away that this team just was not ready from the opening tip. Not at the same level energy-wise that they were at all through the first 3 games of this series. That turnover by Kawhi was miserable.
If you watch the Clippers this year, yeah, you're absolutely right. You said, oh, this is the post All-Star break shit is going bad Clippers right now, is what that felt like. Even if, like, the intensity was of a playoff game, obviously. But this also at the same time felt like the Clippers were preparing for a middle of the season, like you said, afternoon tip-off thing. Like, what you said about why do they feel the need to settle in is my new theme for this series. Is why did they, if things don't go how they're supposed to go, because the Clippers do have a better team, obviously, but if things don't go how they're supposed to go in the long run, why did they feel the need to settle in? Why is that even an option? Also, you're welcome for the mini apartment tour, people on the stream.
Cribs with Chuck Mockler.
It's not very big. That would be a short episode.
I'm not putting it all on one guy. I don't believe in that stuff. It's not true. But I do wonder, and you brought it up earlier, you see James Harden being that passive. He's not being aggressive. He was just asked post-game after game 3 about how aggressive he is, and he talked about how he needs to always be aggressive, even if that doesn't mean taking shots. It could just mean getting downhill. Now, to be fair, he went downhill multiple times early on and did not get a call.
Yeah.
And it
point.
looked like part of it was he didn't have his legs to even get a shot up at times.
Man.
But also, I wonder if that frustrated him or that deterred him from being aggressive, knowing that he wasn't getting those foul calls early.
I think you're right. I mean, because if you're not getting them, then what the hell? Like, what's? I had a thought during this game, which was, is this the wall we've been worried about for Harden? Are the playoffs going to bring out not the fantastic support from the Clippers, the wall? Again, I do want to reiterate, the crowd was phenomenal. But is this when we're going to, man, Harden has the most to prove or make up for, whatever you want to say, I think, other than maybe Ty Lue, for game 5, which is going to be a bloodbath, maybe quite literally.
I am concerned because Denver can be better on the offensive end, regardless of what the Clippers are doing defensively. They've just had guys that haven't been at their best, and I think it's independent of the Clippers' defense, honestly. Like, even in this game, Jamal Murray was 5 of 17, and they freaking lost this game. Jamal Murray was 5 of 17. That hurts. He was at just 13 points. He's probably due now. So you get the Jokic game maybe out of your way. Not like he can't do this again, by the way. Of course he can.
Oh, yeah. This is a momentum builder for Jokic. Like this is and now they get rest. They get to go back home. They don't. It's not like they have a look at a bunch of shit to look at play wise. It wasn't. There's like a bunch of new wrinkles. Like,
No,
I
yeah.
don't know, man.
If anything, it's more likely that another one of these games happens from Jokic now. I don't think it's you got it out of the way and it's over, and now you just have to take on a feeble offensive team in the Denver Nuggets because Jokic can't do this again. All these people that were in here saying, like, Adam, why are you being a hater because you're saying Jokic is the best player in the NBA and better than Kawhi Leonard when I'm just going off of the last 5 years and the MVPs and the finals MVP.
Well, my maybe they're not as far apart take is not looking as good at 9:09 p.m. on Saturday as it did 8 hours ago.
Kawhi's gotten the best of him in a game, and probably up until this point, he has been the better player in this series through the first 3 games. I think you can make that argument. So I don't think it's crazy. Like I agree. Like my whole point has been let it play out. If Kawhi proves it in this series, then yeah, you guys can say that all you want. But right now, I think you have to give the crown to Jokic with all he's done the last 5 years. Yes, maybe it's just because Kawhi has been injured, but let them have a series where Kawhi beats them this time. They do have that whole thing where they came back down 3-1 against Kawhi in the bubble. Like, I don't think there's any real rationale for saying that Kawhi is the better player until he proves it in this series and they win.
Exactly.
But I am telling you, Nikola Jokic, okay, maybe he doesn't go for the 21 rebounds he had in this game, but he might go for 38 and 12 boards and 11 assists. He's got that game still left in him. He does.
He also has probably the 15 assist game where other guys are stepping up. The MPJ shoulder injury, reportedly today, he had to have someone help him take his jersey off. If you saw the post-game stuff, he has, an incredible amount of ice and stuff. They get 2 days to heal up from that. Like, if the Clippers lose this series to this banged up of a Nuggets team, like, everyone is hurt for them. And I don't mean that disrespectfully. It's not mattering. Clearly, the series is 2-2. But like the Clippers are the healthier team. Like, I don't think that's a crazy take. The Clippers are the healthier team and should be able to physically impose that should be some kind of advantage. Call me crazy. I think it should be an advantage that the Clippers are healthier than the Nuggets.
You just reminded me of something, and I'm having a laugh, but it's Mark Spears talking about after game 3, quote, Michael Porter Jr. may not play Saturday. Jamal Murray's hurting. Russell Westbrook is hurting. Aaron Gordon told me he can barely jump right now. I think he was able to jump high enough at the end of game 4.
He saved all his jumps for that one jump. Okay, so
God.
I like what F is saying in the chat, saying, I don't believe any of these Nuggets stories anymore. Same. I don't care. I maybe that's where we all need to be. It's like, I don't believe that shit.
Even David Adelman said yesterday that whole MPJ is at 20 to 30% health-wise.
That's
like,
crazy.
Yeah,
20%, I'm like, so he can barely walk? Like, what is our...
Yeah, he's missing a limb? Like, what?
Yeah.
What's 20%?
Yeah.
What's 20% when it comes to the Black Knight?
The Nuggets are also now
Grail.
8-0 this season when Russ doesn't play.
That's a good point. Oh.
But some of those games were against, like, I think they had 2 against Portland and, like, 1 against Memphis.
It was bad competition.
But they also have 1 against the Clippers.
And David Adelman post-game did talk about how they played a more controlled style in this game, and it was less chaotic. And I kept thinking, like, wow, well, there was no Russ in this ball game.
I heard some scuttlebutt that after game 2, there were some players for the other team who were voicing some opinions to certain people in the other organization about why some people were playing, is something that I heard in the press room today.
Wait, say that again?
All right, I'll be less vague. I heard in the press room from a reputable source that after game 2, there were some players for the team that plays in Denver who were upset at some of the leadership of the team who plays in Denver at Russ playing so much.
Oh. Yeah, that makes
little
sense.
point guard on point guard action there is what I was told. And yes, it does make sense because that is what happens when Russ is on your team.
I'll say this. I think he helped him the first 2 games. I don't know if he won his minutes in game 2, but
he was great in overtime against the Clippers in game 1. He had 2 offensive rebounds. I think he hit a pretty big shot. He hit a huge 3 in game 1.
Yeah.
But game 2, it was a different story from what I gathered and was told directly. I don't want to say directly, but if you can't figure it out.
Are we saying we hope Russ is back for game 5? We hope he's available to go?
Honestly, no, because that crowd would lose their damn mind if Russ dunks or hits anything. Like, the Clippers, we talked about it. You, me, and Will all agreed that the pressure was on the Clippers today.
What the hell is this shit?
Bro, I have not.
We were the ones trying to tell everyone else to calm down yesterday. Watch the episode.
Yeah, I said Clips and sick. What was I just? I don't know. Like, it just. We were talking about how the Clippers, the pressure was on them today to win and to validate what happened in game 3, and they crumbled. Like, and we usually talk a lot about more, we talk a little bit about X's and O's. We talk a little bit about stats and stuff like that. But tonight was very clearly just a fucking, they shit the bed.
Yeah. The air came out of the balloon. Like, they totally thought that they could play at like an 80% level and get by and have just one big run and win the game. And they almost pulled it off. Almost pulled it off. But that's nuts to do, and that's a really bad habit to have because, I mean, my God, we all think how close these teams are. They're the 4 and the 5 seeds in the Western Conference. We saw the first 2 games. Imagine doing this against, if they should get past this round, imagine if they did this against OKC or something. Like, you have to lock in every single possession of the playoffs.
I am saving my thoughts for the next round until the Clippers maybe get there, but let's just say they are not overly optimistic.
I just mean in general, I guess. Forget OKC. Against a better team if they were playing than the Denver Nuggets. And you just think you can...
We got to ease in. Game 3 will ease in.
We handled business in game 3, so game 4, I mean, we already start with a 10-point lead, right? That's how it works. We have this cushion to work with. No, absolutely not. And maybe I'm making too much of just missed shots. I feel like if I go back and watch the tape later, I'm like, maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe it was Chris Dunn being left wide open. It's a game plan decision, and he's been solid the first 3 games of the series, more than solid. He's been really good the first 3 games of this series on both ends. He's been
elite on the defensive. He has been one of the best defenders in this series.
But even offensively, he was more than competent the first 3 games. He was.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a law of averages thing, and of course it wasn't going to last forever. Should they have just played him less? He didn't play at all in the fourth quarter. Once Coach Lou found the bogey, and they got by the way, with a lineup. People complain about the 3-guard lineups. They got by and had this almost miraculous comeback with Bogey, Harden, and Norman Powell out there defensively. I just want to point that out.
It's because Bogey locked the fuck in. He did. That was the best defense he's played maybe his whole career. Like, he was picking up different guys over half court. Like, it was just like, yeah. Oh wait, I do like this question from Old Dirty Dasher. Why was there the weird start time today?
to fit in between what was the game earlier and the game after. It was Golden State afterwards with Houston
Yeah.
because it was an NBA quadruple header or a triple header.
Okay. That's
Or the
annoying.
middle game because basically because there was another West Coast game, I think is why.
Okay, right. Yeah.
It
Not
was
not
scary.
making excuses for the losses the time, but that is a good question. Like, why did again, and I said it yesterday, 3 p.m. is the weirdest time to play a basketball game. I'd take 12:30 over 3.
Yeah. This was not the Goldilocks right in the middle of your primetime game and your early game. This actually was terrible. Goldilocks got freaking destroyed by the Bears. Not the Grizzlies.
No one's getting
Yeah.
destroyed by the Grizzlies.
Disheartening.
Do we have any positives? Someone said that we needed to call Will to give us some positives. I'll tell you something. He and I just drove from Intuit. I don't think we get too many positives from Will Updike right now. We had to sit in the parking lot for 15 minutes, and that was terrible.
I thought you meant like we just stared straight ahead.
Basically, we fucking because no one was working in the parking garage at Intuit, so it was just a free for all. So we were just sitting there, just staring in silence, like looking at the box score. Then we had to drive. Like, God, it was just a damn nightmare.
I am going to send the link to Will just in case.
Yeah, shoot it over. I think it's just
in case. Because it's our year, right? I need some positivity here. We could use some positivity. I mean, as much as I understand and I kind of agree with you, I'd rather just lose by 20. Hold up. Maybe it is good to see that they could find the damn lever. They just got to it a little bit too late. They pulled it like 2 minutes too late. Then, in case of emergency, lock the F in. Here we go, Clippers, come back. They were a minute or two late with pulling that lever, but it is there. It is there. You gotta have more urgency with pushing it or pulling it.
The lever is there, and they're just like, should we pull it? Maybe now. Maybe now. Maybe now. Like, yeah. I guess I'm feeling good that. I mean, Bogey has some good momentum.
That 3-pointer that he rocked, like immediately when he came into the game, I was like, yeah, way to go, Bogey.
It's not, this game doesn't come down to that oop if Bogey doesn't do what he did. Like, and I, like, I think that's generally true. Like, yeah, man.
Now Calvin Booth is in here saying, what happens if Jamal has a crazy shooting playoff game with Jokic?
Hey, what up, Calvin? Sorry, just saying hey.
I'm glad he's still paying attention to this series. I feel like a Jamal game is bound to happen. You're right. You're right.
He's a playoff player.
The idea is, even if they both played well in a game, if the Clippers play well, I still feel confident they can get that victory. Even if Jokic and Jamal Murray both play well, because the Clippers still have top-end talent like that with James Harden and Kawhi and are much deeper overall. But if they play anywhere like they did the first 3 quarters, they're getting ambushed and destroyed. Like, they could have been down 20 early if Jamal was playing well in this game. It was mostly just Jokic.
Yeah, I mean, the Jamal Murray, we've talked about the Jokic game coming, which it did. The Jamal game is coming too. When is let me look up these stats before I talk out of my ass real quick.
The Julian Strother game?
When is... I mean, he had 32 in game 1. When's the Harden scoring explosion coming? He had 32 in game 1.
He was awesome in game 1. He was the main reason they were winning up by 15.
And he was bad today.
And it makes no sense. Like, when he needs to get past Jamal Murray in this series, he gets by him every time. He's getting by Christian Brown almost every time.
That just triggered a thing in me too, because early in this game, Kawhi was going right around Aaron Gordon. He went around him 4 times in a row, and there was just 3 other nuggets in the paint like this, which was their plan. But it was like, where did that go? Where did attacking that go? Right? Like, That's their primary defender they want for Kawhi. You don't need to look for the switch. If you give Kawhi the ball and Aaron Gordon is on him, he can go around him. We saw it happen a lot, right? Like that just awoke a frustrating memory of this game. That was happening early, and they were in the paint to their game plan.
They're giving up the corner threes, and the Clippers didn't hit them. But I can live with what Kawhi did more so than Harden in this game.
Oh yeah, 100%. Harden was sleeping on Christian Brown. Christian Brown cutting, like he also, I know that, so the Nuggets were planning to foul, obviously, before the fracas started. You know what I mean? Like the Nuggets were planning to foul. Christian Brown gave him a hard foul. Keep the composure, man. Don't you're a vet. This is the playoffs. Like, yeah, he gave you a harder foul than maybe you wanted in that scenario, but let that shit go. They were jawing a lot. Some people were saying like, oh, it's surprising it took this long, but like, no, that's Harden getting rattled. That is someone who's not locked in. That's someone who's easing in, is someone who's getting rattled by Christian Brown fouling you like that. You know what I mean? Like, he's got to keep his composure there. I don't even think, like, the Christian Brown foul wasn't even crazy. Like, and I love what James Harden has done for this Clippers team. This isn't my holistic view of James Harden, but today it just felt like, where are you at, man? You know, sometimes when you've worked a job, like if you've been a server before, and you're working with someone and you're just like, hey, what the fuck are you doing out there? Like, why are you so upset about that this order didn't go through? Or like, what? You're usually fine. Like, he's a vet. He should be more composed right there. And again, I'm not pinning the loss on Harden at all, but like, bro, like, let that shit go.
Yeah, I think he was overall frustrated as well because of the officials and how the game was being called, and he wasn't getting his usual foul calls, getting downhill and getting to the rim.
Yeah.
There was one in the first half where I was like, come on, that is
absolutely
complete hack.
100%.
But to your point, you got to play through it. I'm trying to think of the game.
It's the playoffs. Like, the whistle is like, fuck, like, don't. And Christian Brown is a great player. I'm not saying like, you know, like that, but like, Harden is a better player than Brown, and he should not be able to be rattled like that. You got to keep some composure.
Was it the game in Chicago after the All-Star break where Harden had nothing in the first half and then just completely erupted? It looked like his worst game of the season. I want to say that was it.
The one that they won?
He's had games like this where he's got nothing going on and he turns into a completely different player later in the game to save them. And that can be how bad habits are built sometimes. You have it work in your favor before and you think you can just do it again. But if it was Chicago, well, that was Chicago. It's not the same thing. And
incredibly hard pivot, but if some Clippers fans want some audio-visual therapy, speaking of Chicago, go watch highlights of when Lou Williams had a 30-point triple-double off the bench for Chicago. That would be that's my advice to everyone tonight, is go watch those highlights, because that game was weird as hell. The bus was late because it was all snowy. Anyway, go watch those highlights if you want to chill out a little bit.
So it was that game I was thinking of. He had 20 in the third and hit 5 3-pointers. He was so bad before that. I thought it was the worst game he had played all season. And then he just completely took over. But they came out in the third quarter and actually got worse than they were offensively in the first half, which was rough. They scored 17 points. Like, that's not
enough.
That's on Harden or Kawhi to me. Like, you don't have it going. You need some superstar brilliance to just pull you through.
Sometimes you need your your superstars to be superstars. And the Nuggets got that tonight.
Yeah. Because what? Kawhi had 9 entering it. James Harden had 6 by the time they're out of the third quarter. So Kawhi scored 5, and James Harden scored 2 points. He scored 2 points in the third quarter. How? You got 7 points combined from Kawhi and James Harden in the third quarter after the first half they had? How? That's miserable. I mean, that's where the game was lost. The third quarter is just it was such a bad. As good as they were for so much of the time, outside of like 3 or 4 minutes maybe total, if you were going to nitpick in game 3, they might have only had like 3 or 4 good minutes in this game before the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Man. I mean, like they get 48 hours to look in the mirror and figure I also will say I'm confident the coaching staff is going to point out some of the faults. Shout out to the guy who had the Van Gundy jersey today. I posted on my Twitter. I was very happy to see that support. Van Gundy is probably pulling his hair out. Lack of hair, 1 hair, 2 hair, whatever he has left. Those are gone at this point. No disrespect.
That did it.
No disrespect to the bald community, but you don't have any hair to pull out. So that saying is difficult. Yeah, like if this isn't the game that lights the fire under the Clippers, because again, last game, game 3, burn the tape game in the very different sense. If this isn't the game, if they don't win these next 2 games, I don't know, man. Like,
hey, I need a fire lit like the eternal flame. Like I need continuous Duraflame. Flame on forever. Come on. It's the playoffs. I don't missed shots do happen, but this is about just not even attempting shots when you're James Harden and not even being aggressive out there. That's what really, really bothers me. We have to do better. We have to do better from a consistency standpoint from our superstars.
Yeah. And from our substitutions from the head coach. I'm not saying that Brian Shaw should be the coach, but Ty Lue fucked that up. I think. Put in Drew Eubanks. Put in every big guy.
Yeah.
Australian sensation, Drew Eubanks.
No, you got to have rebounders in there. And just, even if it's not, forget the rebounding part, just more switchable defenders than Norm and James Harden.
Exactly.
They could have ran something else where they get an ISO on one of them too, and you're at a disadvantage. There were so many ways that could have gone wrong. It still went very much wrong, but there were other ways it also could have gone wrong.
There were multiple ways. Yeah, I want one way to go wrong. I don't want 3 ways something can go wrong, right? Like you got to mitigate the risk at some point.
It's frustrating. That's just, I don't want that to be how we remember this series. I can't have that being the lasting memory from this season. It's been too good of a year. I won't have it. Please.
You're saying get me a uniform.
Put me in, coach.
Put me in, coach. Man, yeah, just losing track of Aaron Gordon on what everyone knew was coming is an incredibly frustrating way. One of the incredibly frustrating ways to have lost this game.
It's also on an airball like that, with that little time left, for it to happen so perfectly that he has enough time to get to it, and just the ball placement of where it was, it is perfect storm of bad for Clipper Nation
100%.
for that to happen that way. Ugh. If he hits the rim or the backboard,
it
it's
doesn't
over.
happen. Yeah.
He missed perfectly. That's so annoying.
That's why he should be the MVP. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I have to head out. Thank you for having me. Thank you for helping me vent.
That was good, Chuck.
I hope other people have been able to vent.
I think I'm gonna go too.
I think I'm gonna order some Popeyes. I don't know.
Yeah, I was trying to be good today, but losses like this make me emotionally eat and make bad decisions.
Okay, well, I'm taking back what I said. In solidarity, I will not order Popeyes, so you can not order whatever insane ice cream pizza combo you would order.
I just can't believe how much the pendulum have swung for some people. It's exactly what we said. If they lose game 4, those same people are like, ha ha ha, this
And
series is over.
no disrespect to Six Ab specifically, but we were, if you didn't watch the last stream with Adam, Will, and I, we had multiple people constantly asking us, can we beat the Thunder? What do you think about the Thunder? Live in the now. The Wayne's World line. Live in the now.
Yeah.
It is April 26th. We have a long way to go.
They were up 2-1, not 3-1. And even if they were up 3-1, we've seen something before. How can you not know better? Yeah, people being way too cocky. All right.
The waves. I'll see you tomorrow. We'll do full clips and dip.
Yeah. Just let me know when. I'm going to go run freaking, I don't know. I'm going to run a half marathon tomorrow. Burn this.
Go run to Glendale, Arizona and run back, and then you'll probably be fine.
All right. I think I'm going to stay on, review the rest of the post-game sound, and then get out.
Sounds good. I will see y'all later. Thank you, Adam. Here's to a win in Denver, right? All right. Bye.
Yeah, please do. You know what's pissed me off now? My headphones are breaking. Pets' heads are falling off. We heard from one head coach, the losing head coach. What about the winning head coach? Here was David Adelman post-game.
Can you take us through just the call for the last play and your perspective on the dunk?
No timeouts. Just wanted him to catch it. Was hoping he'd catch it the logo, not outside the 3-point line. Obviously had a really tough shot against Zubats.
They didn't even get close to the shot they wanted, and it worked out perfectly.
So the desired catch was not where we wanted him to catch it. To our guys' credit, in the NBA, it's really true. You talk about this all season long in situational basketball. When the shot goes up, there's no reason not to crash everybody. So it was good to see our guys do that. Obviously, you could say it's a lucky play, but that's a big athletic man, and he met the ball early. I couldn't tell if it was good or not. I was preparing for overtime. So this was a game where I was really proud of us for 3 quarters. They have a lot to be proud of in the 4th quarter. They were incredible in that quarter with their defense and the way they picked up. And, it's one of those things where that's going to be on NBA TV someday. And I'm glad we won the game. I'm glad it'll be on Nugget Day and not Clipper Day. So hell of a win, 2-2 going home.
Well, that's fucking painful. Please win this series, Clippers. I don't need to see that dunk for the rest of our lives. I don't need to see it. I don't need this as an instant classic on NBA TV. Please, God, find a way to win this series.
David, you spoke about Jokic trying to find I'm sorry, Ramona. Trying to find a balance and being more aggressive and maybe going back to the film and looking at it. Obviously, he was pretty impressive today. What did you see there? What was the difference in his performance and his scoring performance?
Yeah, I thought he was more aggressive to shoot the ball. I did think our spacing was better, which allows him to get to space and score, and not in the 4th quarter, when they junked it up, but throughout the game. And he did a great job of finding soft spots in their defense. We did a much better job in this game in the first 3 quarters of slowing down and getting organized. And it showed, early in the game, much more of a half-court offensive team, not just racing the ball up and down. And if you can do that, I think Nikola thrives in that. Like I said, in the regular season, we were a race it up and down the court kind of team. I saw a much more under control basketball team those first 3 quarters, which got us that lead. And we have
that whole under control part when they don't have Russell Westbrook. It's just kind of like
thrives in that. Like I said, in the regular season, we were a race it up and down the court kind of team. I saw a much more under control basketball team those first 3 quarters, which got us that lead. And we have to be able to continue, that in the fourth if we're going to win two more games in the series. So, I really mean that. Like, organized basketball allows guys to play they can take a deep breath, they can see the spacing, they can make the right basketball play. So really proud of the guys. And obviously Nikola was the 3-time MVP we all know.
I was wrong earlier, by the way. The Clippers didn't have 10 turnovers like I saw on one stat sheet. They had 14. I know they didn't. They had 10. Fuck. Back to David Adelman. They only had 10. Denver had 14. How'd they lose this game?
Is there any chance that last shot was a pass?
No.
I mean, because it is not that easy to catch the ball in midair. I mean, usually a guy like that can time it.
Right.
Aaron Gordon can time a rebound.
No, I
But
think
it almost felt like a lob the way he got it.
Yeah, and the guys on the bench, because we had no timeouts left, everyone said it in the huddle, make sure you just get a shot up. When you get a shot up, it gives everybody an opportunity. And like I said, would rather have him have a much deeper catch. But we got the ball in his hands. You can't stop the game then. He gets a shot at the rim. And obviously Aaron made an enormous play.
David,
Yes, he did.
Are you able to almost take a sigh of relief now that the series is tied at 2-2 and it's a best of 3 now?
No. What I was excited about is things that we talked about the last, 36 hours. I felt like, all the themes that we had said we got to be better at. We were much more physical defensively at the point, with Harden and Kawhi. Like I said, I thought we slowed down offensively and controlled the pace of the game. And then to their credit, like I said, I thought we were the better team for 3 quarters, obviously. And I give them credit. Their fourth quarter, the intensity, the energy they had was extremely impressive. And we have to learn from that. Obviously, easier to learn after a win. But we'll watch that film, and we're going to break that thing down.
Oh, great.
Win, lose, whatever. It's game 5. And each one of these games, like I said, is its own thing. It's its own chapter in the book. So learn from what we have to learn from, but also take the positives away from things we really struggled in game 3 with, and that the guys came out and said, we're going to change that for game 4 to give us a chance to win a really high-level playoff game. So proud of the guys, in that area.
I hate the fact that the Clippers gave them a new look, a new wrinkle with the zone they played in the fourth quarter, and it didn't lead to them winning, and now they'll be better prepared for it moving forward. KPJ does not play on the Denver Nuggets. Michael Porter Jr. does. Maybe. You're saying for him getting up off the bench, Michael Porter Jr., letter of the law, maybe he gets suspended for game 5. I hate that rule. I'm not here for that stuff.
You gave the Clippers a lot of credit for that fourth quarter. They do pick up their defense intensity, but they're down 20, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like
Yeah, 22 to be exact. I need to see at what point were they down 22 with how much time left. So with 11-12 left in the ball game, they're down 22 points. And they had the lead after the bogey putback with 1:11 left. It was 97-96 Clippers. It was the first lead they had. Okay. Pain.
you guys also maybe offensively took your foot off the gas a little bit, maybe even defensively try not to foul? How would you describe just off the top of your head?
I agree with that. I thought we lost our aggressiveness offensively. And I also thought, sometimes when you see whatever the defense is, whether it's, a zone, it's a matchup zone, it's a box and one, whatever it is, sometimes you just got to run your stuff and let it come to you. And I thought we were staring at it, trying to figure it out. And I think, that's something we can work on and talk about. We haven't had issues with zones throughout the season. So it's nice to be able to look back in it after a win, and improve on it. But yeah, I agree with that. Our aggressiveness. And I thought defensively, look, I ran the guys, and I knew, keeping the 4 of the 5 starters to start the fourth, I was taking a chance, and Jamal was the only guy not out there. So we'll learn from that too. Look back at the rotation, who we're comfortable with to start that quarter to give us those first 3 minutes. So maybe there's more than one fresh body coming in, to win a game like that. So like I said, much to learn from, but really excited, having the win.
So I just saw this from Law Murray. If you guys want the closest angle of the final play from Aaron Gordon. This looks pretty definitive to me. Hands or right fingers touching the basketball, but basket isn't red yet. Time hasn't run out. Next frame, there's distance between his fingers and the basketball. Light is now on. Regardless, I don't think you could overturn it. If the call was no good, it probably doesn't get overturned either. More from David Adelman.
Coach, the talking point for you yesterday and Thursday night, looking at film, more physicality, bring the fight to the Clippers, bring the fight.
Yeah.
Today, you guys did that, sometimes literally. What were, some of the things that went into that, and, what were some of the things that prepared to that, and just the resilience that you guys showed?
Yeah, I think when you lose a game like we did in game 3, you don't just lose the game on the scoreboard. You feel like you got punked mentally. That's not a good feeling. And when you have another chance, that's why the NBA playoffs are so amazing, is there's the next chance until somebody ultimately wins the series. We had to respond. And I love the fight from our guys, standing up for each other. We have to be smart in those situations, obviously, but that is the playoffs. And I felt like they played, that way in game 3, and we did not. And today it was completely different. I saw something in the eyes of our players. You saw the physicality early in the game, the way we picked up full, challenging them. We have to challenge them. You can't just let them walk the ball down the floor like they're in a pickup game because they're too talented. And so game 5 is going to be the same thing, and it'll be the same thing from them. What's the next level you can take it? How mentally tough can you be while still, pushing that physicality? And I said it before the series, physicality first, IQ next. You have to engage early in the game. If you don't, you're telling the officials, you're telling the opponent that you didn't come to play. And we certainly came to play tonight.
They were mentally tougher for 48 minutes. Clippers were for a good 10 minutes in the fourth. They were unbelievable. It's the playoffs. You can't show up for 10 minutes of a game and expect to beat anybody. I've got cheated on before, Adam, and that felt damn near the same. When did AG said his hand was on it? Even AG said his hand was on it, but his argument is it was in the basket, though. I guess it's in the basket. That's true. Does it need to go through the bottom to be counted? No. That's interesting. What is a basket, anyways? Back to David Adelman.
Coach, congratulations on the win. Gordon was a hero tonight, but what's your message to those who say he should have been ejected in Scuffle that happened earlier?
Then a lot of people should have been ejected. There was a lot of people in that scuffle. You can define whatever you want to define with open hand, all that stuff, but
I thought them saying it wasn't a closed fist was a little bit like, wait a second. So if you're doing a palm strike, that's not a punch. I guess maybe it wasn't enough wind up, but if you punch somebody like this, I think that's still a punch. I think it's called Tiger Claw.
I saw a lot of people starting that and ending it. So I don't think Aaron has a reputation of being that person. Obviously, in those situations, you have to be intelligent, but these are two teams trying to do something really special, trying to move on. And, I thought they handled it the right way. I didn't think there was anything extracurricular after the fact that you could say was dangerous. And I thought both teams were just going at it, trying to win a game. And I didn't see anything after the fact, after the, whatever you want to call it. Everybody seemed like they were cool. Let's go play. So we both know what this is. There's a ton of respect on both sides for the players. These guys have been playing each other for a long time, 2 veteran teams. So I thought it was handled correctly.
Gordon didn't have a closed fist. That was clear. It was like this. It was a palm. But, that's like a karate move. I've watched Best of the Best. like all of them.
David, we spoke with you all week, David, about Michael Porter's status, if he'll play, how well he can play. Plays tonight, hit some big shots. What was that conversation like tonight, and what did you think of his performance?
Yeah, it's just a gradual conversation in the last 36 hours with the medical staff and Michael and where he's at and the treatment he's getting. And I'm going to say this again for the 5th time. Michael's one of the toughest guys I've ever coached. The injuries he's been through, what he plays with nightly, and then you add this to it. And how about some of the shots he made tonight? Not only the shots he made, but if you watch the tape, every shot he makes, even when he makes it, he's grimacing. It hurts to get the ball above his head. And you can say, oh, it's the playoffs, blah, blah, blah. These injuries that Michael's gone through, they're legit. And he's tough. And he's playing for his teammates. He's playing because he knows this is one of the opportunities in his life. He gets to do something with a team that's really special. So, there's a reason why we hung a banner, man. Like, Michael was a part of that. And what he did tonight, all the shots he made late in the clock, it kept us ahead. Just really proud of Michael.
MPJ did ball out playing hurt. I agree with this, though, and this is how why I initially felt like Aaron Gordon would be ejected, because he never really de-escalated. He kept coming after him, just like I thought it was like Isaiah Stewart when he was coming after LeBron. Like, he kept having to be held back by Ivica Zubac. If that's regular season, hell yes, he gets ejected, but maybe James Harden does too for his initial. I don't know if it was a punch or a push off. It wasn't to the head like Aaron Gordon's was, but is that how you really want to win? Be like, yeah, we can beat you if Aaron Gordon's not playing. Is that? I want everybody healthy and everybody playing.
Hey, Coach. Aaron is the type of guy who does a lot of grunt work, who's worked really hard to be such an important player on this team. What's it like just seeing him have a moment like that?
For me, it's special beyond the Nuggets. I was with Aaron in Orlando and watching him grow up and just mature as a man. And what he's been through this past year, seeing him, what he was in Orlando and working on his skill set, and to come to a team like ours and say, you know what, I'll take a step back. I'll be a very high level role player. And I can go on and on. He initiates offense. He guards some of the best players in the NBA. You can post him. He can go one-on-one. You can ISO him against smaller guys. You can put him on smaller, offensive players. And on top of all that, Aaron doesn't care if it's 12, 8, and 4 that night, as long as we win. And some nights it's 22, 12, and 6. If we lose, he doesn't care. He wants to win. And there's certain people in our league that really I would define as championship pieces. I think we say that too much. He is one of those people. He is the definition of that, and he always has been since he got to us.
All right, there was David Adelman post-game speaking glowingly, of course, of Aaron Gordon after a history-made bucket, a playoff game ending with a dunk like that. The play I would compare it to, I know everybody's comparing it to Clippers situations with the Valley-oop or the Luka Doncic game winner against them. But 2010 Western Conference Finals, I forget which game it was, 4 or 5. Ron Artest put back on a Kobe airball on a 3. That's what it felt like to me. That's what came to mind immediately. Let's hear from Kawhi Leonard postgame. Also, if you guys want to jump on, 877-520-1150, 877-520-1150 is the phone number.
Kawhi, how tough is it to lose a game on a last-second shot when you guys make the comeback like you did?
It was tough, but I'm glad we fought. We didn't lay down. Down, I think 20 in that fourth quarter, to be able to keep fighting and rally back. And it's the NBA. They made a great play.
So Kawhi's glad they fought. They didn't give in.
Coach came in and told us that early on, you guys got behind due to a lack of physicality and intensity. Just as a leader of the team, what was the conversation with the team as you guys had this slow start?
Just keep fighting. get to our spots, try to still have space and, trust one another. And, that's it. But you got to give them credit. They played a great game. They came out with energy. And, Jokic led them all night.
That third quarter, I think Nicole made 6 baskets by himself, and Clippers' entire offense had only 5 in that third quarter. Like, what was the challenge in that period specifically that helped Denver get off to a?
I like how we went from it's over, Clippers got this, Clips in 5 is happening, to don't worry, guys, it's still a series. We haven't lost the series in one game. It's 2-2. Best out of 3. They got home court. Yeah, the Clippers are still in this. Just like Denver was still in it when they were down 2-1. Some of you all thought it was already over. Wild.
A 22-point lead in the fourth quarter.
You said who had 6?
Nicole by himself.
That's what it was. Him being the MVP player, getting to his spots, making shots, and got to give him credit on the defensive end. Like you said, we had 5 baskets, and it's the playoffs is how it goes sometimes.
Kawhi, in a 2-2 series now, when you're looking at film in these off days, is it hard to mentally, emotionally not think it could have been 3-1? Is that in any way a challenge?
No, not for me. Like I've been saying, I'm happy to be out there and play. And, it's still a series, best of 3. And, we'll see what happens.
Kawhi, in that fourth quarter, you guys played a lot of zone. And you guys were successful. Why are you guys able to take kind of Denver out of their rhythm offensively?
Pretty much that. We've been playing man all series. Probably the first time they see us in that zone. And it led us to, getting some turnovers, getting some easy baskets, and pretty much kind of helped us get back in the game.
Wow. Y2 Kenyon said he's seen teams come back down 3-2. I've seen teams come back down 3-1 in my lifetime. Unfortunately.
Hey, Kawhi. You talked about not laying down there, down 22 in that fourth. Can you talk about how fighting back, what can I do kind of for confidence and going for Game 5?
Just showed us that we wasn't giving up. You know what I mean? I'm proud to see my teammates still battling in those moments. And it'll give us a good chance to look at film and see what we did right in those last minutes there, and what we did wrong in the beginning. But just got to keep going.
Maybe they'll find something that they did in the fourth quarter that can carry over through the rest of the series. That's the hope. Maybe they found something that they can pick at, some weakness with Denver. That'd be nice. That this wasn't all for naught, that it wasn't just some fake comeback, that it didn't just make it more heartbreaking and that's it, but they actually found something, game plan, schematics, tactician-wise, that they can tap into.
What was the difference in that fourth?
Have I talked about it? Rewind. I'm sorry, we've talked about it. I talked about it in the other pod that we did right after the game. I've talked about it. Nobody asked Coach Lou about it post-game for whatever reason.
Quarter when you guys didn't make that run compared to the first 3 quarters of the game?
I think slowing their pace down a little bit, going into that zone, just getting out and getting to our spots, obviously making shots, limiting them to, one possession, getting rebounds, and going back on the other end. And that pretty much got us in a good situation.
That's one.
Kawhi, zooming out on the series, 4 games in, these 2 teams are obviously very different stylistically, but as someone that studies the game, how would you assess what makes these 2 teams so different and why the series has been this competitive?
It's like another 4 or 5 seeding series. You usually get some tough battles in these seeds, and you guys watched the end of the last 3 weeks of the season, and everybody was fighting. And I think we pretty much got the same record. So, that's all it is. the matchups might be different and different style of play, but both teams are fighting to win.
It's almost like a 34-point win didn't mean anything the very next game. And maybe people put way too much into a hot shooting game from the Clippers. I try to tell you all, slow your roll. All they have to do is win game 4, and it's a best of 3 with them having home court. Who else we got here post game? From the Clippers side, here's Norman Powell.
As a team, this is going to be a dogfight every single game. Nobody's going to be able to give in or wants to give in, and a lot of will, a lot of poise in us, going down by 20 plus and being able to fight our way back and make the plays needed to, give ourselves a chance to win the game.
Norman, along that line, what's the biggest challenge for you in these next couple of days, kind of mentally, emotionally, when you're losing a tough game like that?
Just bounce back. We know what time it is. Like we said, we've all said it. Like, that's a good team over there. They won a championship. They know what it's take. They got the will. They got the guys. They're not going to quit. It's just us going back to the drawing board and seeing how we can improve. I think in the previous 3 games, we did a great job on their role players and letting them have an impact, especially with Jokic, finding them on backdoor cuts and things like that, taking them off the glass. So I think watching film and seeing how we can, get back to improving on taking those other guys out the game and trying to contain Jokic as best we can. I think, giving up offensive rebounds, especially that one at the end of the game, boxing out. It's the little things, the basics are going to determine the series. So it's that we don't got to reinvent the wheel. We know what we need to do to bounce back. Boxing out, it's the little things, the basics, giving up offensive rebounds, especially that one at the end of the game, boxing out. It's the little things, the basics are going to determine the series. So it's that we don't got to reinvent the wheel. We know what we need to do to bounce back.
God damn it. I realized my mic was off. I was trying to tell you all for days now, this whole conversation about Kawhi, oh, he's better than Jokic, like all that's premature. Let the series play out. The winner of this series will tell the story. But how could you not see it coming? A big Jokic game like this. Now, how comfortable is he going to be the rest of the series? I don't think he's done. I don't think this was the Jokic game and it's over now. There's more coming from him. So everybody that was all upset with me for being unbiased and pointing out that the guy who obviously has all the MVPs and the recent championship over the last 5 years is the best player in the world, that wasn't me being a hater, Miss Shakes. That was me trying to tell the truth about the situation. I know who Jokic is. You better be ready for another one of those games from him. This isn't a one and done thing. This is who he is. Hopefully Kawhi or James or both can match him, because Murray's going to play better too. Y'all counted Denver out way, way prematurely. Way too early. It was 2-1. Now it's a whole new series, and they have home court again.
Norm, you've seen this series now. It's gotten chippy, to say the least. Like, how, as a team, do you understand and kind of embrace that part of it while not letting it be a detriment to what y'all want to do as far as outcome of the other team?
I mean, this is what we want. You know, this is what we're about. This is what we work for. Tight, intense playoff series. You know, like I said, no team willing to give an inch, no team willing to back down. So it's gonna get chippy. We're gonna fight. You know, we got guys that like it. You know, we've been through a bunch of different types of series in our career. So there's nothing that we haven't faced or seen before. You know, it's just about who's going to be the team that's going to limit the easy mistakes or the gift baskets or little things to, you know, tighten up the game. When you got two top teams battling and fighting.
Norm, going into the fourth quarter, you're 1 for 6, and then you catch fire there in the fourth quarter. Was it something that the defense was
1 for 6 or what?
Going into the shooting?
Shooting what, threes?
3, I think they had threes.
It must have been threes, because Norm was actually their best player tonight. He and Ivica Zubats going into the fourth quarter. See, Norm was like, wait a second, what are you talking about? Yes, he was 1 of 5 from 3 heading into the fourth, but he had 13 points. It's not great. He ended up with 9 in the fourth quarter as he hit 3 3-pointers to get to those 9 clutch shots. That's why all this, you guys wanted to give up on Norm after game 1. Like, I told you, he's one of the best fourth quarter performers the last 2 years in the league. You don't give up on that guy. You're not going to win a series without him.
I wasn't 1 for 6.
Field goal. 1 for 4. There you go. Field goal shooting though.
Nah, I had 2 baskets.
He was 4 for 9 heading into the fourth. He was 1 of 5 from 3. Norm's right here. I don't know who's asking this question.
Nah, I had 2 baskets in the first quarter. So I was 1 for 6.
Maybe I got the stat wrong, but you just
it's all good.
You caught fire fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Did it just come down to what the defense were doing, or was it just you making shots?
Just taking the shots that are open to me. You know, I wasn't thinking about what my shooting percentage was, how many shots I missed or made. My focus is on whatever it takes to win the game. That's what my focus has been on to start the series. You know, how to make a play, how to have an impact on winning. It doesn't matter what I'm shooting. I have confidence that if I got an open shot and I take an open shot, I'm gonna make it. You know, I put the time, put the work in. So honestly, I didn't know what my field goal percentage or my attempts were at that point in the game. You know, my mindset was on being in position to give myself a chance to make plays for my team, whether that's me shooting, driving, kicking, playing defense, getting back, hustling. That's my mindset. So I don't really care about what the stats are, as long as we're winning. You know, I could have 5 points and we win the game, and I'm happy this time of the year. You know, that's all my mindset is focused on.
Okay, thanks, Norm.
I like that from Norm. Obviously, he's frustrated with the loss. And then somebody was bringing up the numbers, and they were off from where he was at heading into the fourth quarter. I got another super slow-mo angle of the final bucket from Aaron Gordon. The putback dunk, the oop, the unintentional alley-oop. You guys want to see it? I think you do. Here we go. Super, super slow-mo. Okay. I think his hand, see now it's like is his finger touching or not? Light's still not on. Light's still not on. Is his finger touching it? Light's still not on. Light's still not on. There it goes. I'm going to frame late. Ooh, it even shows the red light is up here. It starts at the bottom and goes upward. So the red starts here. So it's where his hand is here. There's just no way to tell. And if there's no way to tell, they're not going to overturn it. You know, if they used to have the old floor cameras like they used to have in the NBA, which may not have been a great idea, they were looking up at guys' junk going up for dunks. We might have been able to find out if his hands were on the basketball or not. The old floor camera, it was short-lived in the NBA. Sorry, this isn't that helpful. But it's the best we got. You guys are saying finger on the ball. Every Clipper fan going to say that. I'm not. If I had to guess that his fingernail was touching it somehow, I would say probably yeah. But if they don't have the angle and it's that close, they're not going to overturn it. Speaking of, do you guys want to hear from Aaron Gordon post-game? Here he was with Nico. Sorry, with Nikola Jokic. Oh, I brought that up too. Aaron Gordon missed the dunk in game 2. It's just crazy how that happens, and now he gets the game-winning dunk, the first ever. Right? Come on. He missed the wide-open dunk in game 2. Oh, we may have a special guest. We may have a special guest here. We may have a special guest. I got some questions. Let me make sure I send him the link. I love this man. I may have to ask him one tough question. I think you guys will be happy about this. Those that have stayed around, we're almost 2 hours in. It's Clippers Talk After Dark. I'm at a Mosland. It's a loss, so yeah, we're doing all kind. I mean, we're going extended post game here. Even though I'm like, my brain is melting. I'm watching super slow-mo clips. So to help pick me up, come pick me up. Great Ryan Adams. Law Murray from The Athletic, I think still at the Dome, at Intuit Dome. Just got done writing, and now I guess we'll get some of the visual of his words with his analysis after one of the craziest games in postseason history, historically crazy when it comes down to a game-winning dunk. It never happened before. Law, thanks for doing this.
I'm not sure I'm the one that you want for a pick-me-up, but what's up?
I'm good. I got a question. Did I miss something? Did anybody, and this ain't directed at you, I know you had asked at least one tough question post-game. Did anybody ask Coach Lou about personnel at the end of that game?
I'm not sure that came up. I mean, my question was about the decision to even, have time left on the clock. Because for me, I'm a football fan. I've been watching the draft all weekend, like I was talking to my guy, Jordan, shout out Swiss Cultures, and Jordan's a Packers fan. I am not, but we've seen prime Aaron Rodgers, everyone was like, you leave time left for that dude, you get what you deserve, you know. We know what Patrick Mahomes is capable of. You leave even 13 seconds on the clock or however much it was against the Bills in that one playoff game, and anything can happen. We saw last month, they were down one. Brian Shaw was coaching. They were down one, and they had time, like more time than they had today in Game 4. And Brian Shaw told Kawhi, dribble the air out of the ball and take the last shot. We either go home or win or lose on you. And, you know, the approach was different in this one. I just thought, you know, with the way that game was, I can understand them wanting to get to overtime and feeling good in overtime, obviously. The minutes that those Nuggets starters played was predictably ridiculous. But the Clippers took a different approach tonight. They decided to take the lead, or not take the lead, but they decided to get a shot early. And you know what? Harden missed that shot. Zubats, fortunately, was in a place to put Harden's miss back. But if Zoo doesn't control the rebound or can't score, they're in a position where they are fouling and praying for a missed free throw to save the game at that point. And
I agree with that philosophy. I
Yeah.
always thought the Kawhi make covered up for, I think, a flawed process there. Like, I don't like the idea of just the game ending like that. It's like, wait, you could get the offensive rebound. You could foul and extend the game and still win. I agree with what they did. I don't mind that part.
And so, you know, them ending the game the way they did, they just had their 5 guys out there that they had been rolling with. They got enough stops. That's the thing about it. It's like those dudes got enough stops to hold the Nuggets to 9 points in 10 minutes while they were coming back. I'm not trying to defend anything. The reality is, you know, you can roll guys out there and they haven't been on the floor. You could just go with the guys who they're already worked up and playing. So I understand why it didn't come up as a question. And I can understand how it will be a question maybe Monday when coach is available again. But I think at the end of the day, it just came down to that miss was in the worst spot possible for the Clippers. Their biggest guys were Kawhi and Zoo covering that shot. Bogey rotates up to one pass away, which was Jamal. I don't think the Nuggets had great spacing at all. They had 3 guys on the other side of the floor, and you could cover all of them basically. Porter Jr., Brown, and Gordon were basically guarded by 2 guys. It just so happened that the 2 guys were Norman Powell and James Harden.
But that was the issue the first 2 games. I know they won one of those games, but those were the 2 guys you were relying on to get rebounds in game 1, and it killed them.
Yeah. So
I don't know. That's something people are talking about. I thought about it like right after the game. I'm like, why? They had a timeout. They used the timeout, Denver, to drop that play. You could have put in different personnel. It made me think of Reggie Jackson being in defending Luka in the bubble at the end. Like, why?
That may or may not be in my story. Yeah, you know.
Great minds.
And even before that, like me and Eric Pincus were talking about the end of game 1 in 2017. Jazz were at Staples Center.
Joe Johnson.
And Joe Johnson, see, Chris Paul scores, and the Jazz actually didn't use the timeout, but the personnel on the floor, the Jazz, one of the reasons they didn't call a timeout is because they had they had the personnel that they wanted. It was DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, JJ Redick, Chris Paul, and instead of Luke Bahamute, Jamal Crawford was on the floor. So Joe Johnson gets Blake screened off of him by Joe Ingles, who I am pretty sure if he wasn't in Clippers training camp that year, it was the year before.
He wrecked Redick in that series, by the way. Ingles just owned him.
And Joe Johnson took Jamal into the paint, got the floater, and got a friendly bounce. It was a friendly bounce before Kawhi's friendly bounce 2 years later against the 76ers in the 7-game semifinal. So, yeah, there's a lot of things you can draw back on, and that's bad, bad luck, bad results. And sometimes, yes, you can create your own results, but that's just how it bounces sometimes, man.
What did you see though early in the game? Because as much as it's gutting losing that way, they were only in that position because they battled back down 22 with about 11 minutes left. Why were they down by that much, in your opinion, to begin with? Because I keep saying it felt like they came out flat to me in this game.
Afternoon game, man. Afternoon game. You asked me to run down all the games that I thought the Clippers and Nuggets would win in this series. And I had the Nuggets winning game 4. I guess what? I got them winning game 5 as well. I think the Clippers win in 7, but I think they're going to be trailing in the series when it comes back to LA for game 6. And like, I just didn't trust that the Clippers would come out. It was so important for them to win game 3. And I thought they'd win game 3, but it was so important that they won game 3. And you see why. Like, I just didn't trust the Clippers to win this game. Quick turnaround, afternoon start. The Clippers are stupid about these games, okay? Like, that's just what happened. Like, I'm not going to front and say the Clippers deserved to win this game. They didn't. They didn't deserve to win this game. It was their worst first quarter from a scoring perspective in more than 3 weeks. After all that went down at the end of the second quarter, the fight and everything, they had 7 seconds left. They didn't get a shot off in the first half. So they kind of go in the locker room and they're down. And then they come out of the locker room and they get smacked by a team that we all knew had 5 playable dudes. Russ wasn't suiting up, and none of the Denver reserves looked good. They all looked bad as soon as they entered the game. And even with all that, I knew the Nuggets were up 22, and I was like, if the Clippers show any signs of life, get any kind of spark, it's worth going for it, because those dudes had to play not just the minutes, but you're playing hard. Like, Nikola played hard on both ends of the floor. We all know what effort looks like from Nikola Jokic, and we can talk about the exaggeration of contact, but we also see when Nikola Jokic is like, I'm not wasting time, I'm getting to the paint, I'm getting a shot up, and then on the other end, I'm going to play this pick and roll, I'm going to have my hands active, and if they miss, I'm rebounding it. Like, we all know what it looks like when Nikola's like, it's got to happen right now. And Nikola killed the Clippers. He put them in a sarcophagus in that third quarter. But all those minutes meant that if the Clippers found some damn spirit and played hard and got the crowd behind them, they could erase the deficit. And like, they ran through the tape. They just, with a minute left, they didn't get a stop after that. They fouled. Nikola hit a tough shot, and then Nikola missed a tough shot, and the Clippers didn't have the rebounders down there. It literally took everything from the Nuggets from an effort and result standpoint to win this game by a single bucket. And so the Clippers didn't deserve to win. They didn't play hard enough. They didn't come out with the urgency. All their best players played poorly through 3 quarters, all of them. The role players shot horribly. Chris Dunn he missed 5 of 6 threes. Nico missed 5 of 6 threes. Derek was in there to start the fourth quarter, but once he missed a couple shots in a row, that's when Bogey came in, because at that point it's like, we don't need your defense. We need guys to be a threat, make shots, do something. And the Clippers just didn't have enough guys that played well enough when the game mattered. They almost made up for it in 10 minutes. If you can play that well in 10 minutes, you should be able to play that well in 30 minutes. Hey, guess what? Both teams are going to have a lot more rest going into game 5 than they had coming into this game this afternoon. But I'm interested to see what time game 7 is. They better hope it's a night game. That's all I'm going to say.
Would that have been the all-time record, down 22 with 11 minutes left in playoff history? Because I don't think they were down that much entering the fourth in the 31-point comeback. I think it was like 18 or 16 or something.
I'm not sure. I mean, the game that really you got to look at is the 2012 game at Memphis to start game 1.
That was 27, yeah.
No. I'm saying the game you're bringing up, that was 2019 against the Warriors. But when they were in 2012, they were down by 27 against the Grizzlies on the road, mind you, in Memphis. And it was the bench, taking that one.
Yeah,
taking
I
that.
think it was 27 with like 3 minutes left in the third quarter. So that may have been around 20 by the time the
Yeah.
fourth started.
Yeah.
That's what's so
Um,
tough about this one. Why do you think James Harden and Kawhi didn't have it tonight? Like it's just afternoon start for them because their pop, James Harden specifically, we can just talk about him because Kawhi at least took 11 shots in the first half.
Right.
How did James Harden have 6 shots or whatever it was? Like what was going on with him?
I mean, Kawhi's 11 shots were poor. He only had 9 points on those 11 shots in the first half. This is my last question because I got to dip. But I will say, I feel like James just kind of slept through the game. To be honest with you, like it took him a while to get going. Like his handle wasn't not, and they didn't always lead to turnovers, but his handle wasn't tight. He just was kind of there. I think I don't know how many threes he took, but I feel like it was the fewest threes I've seen James Harden take in a playoff game, like in a significant amount of time. Like he just kind of he just kind of floated. It's the kind of game that you hate to see from James at this time of year, and I can only a lot of it's narrative, but come on, I can only chalk it up to to be honest with you, I can only chalk it up to James just kind of not having the same rhythm because of the start time. It sounds like an excuse, but honestly, it's just a reason. Like James didn't talk tonight, so it's not like we can be like, hey, what was up? Like, nah, James saw Zoo talking by his locker and dipped. So everyone else is going to have to talk for him, and so I'm just going to chalk it up to the Nuggets played hard, and James didn't really. He just this was a blank game from him, and he's got a whole week to make up for it. So he didn't play well enough. Kawhi didn't play well enough. Role players missed shots. Jokic outplayed everybody, and the Nuggets made one more play than the Clippers did. On that note, I got a story coming out hopefully soon. I'll catch y'all later.
Thank you, Law. Appreciate the perspective.
right.
Safe travels. There goes Law Murray. Follow him at Law Murray, the NU. If you follow this show, if you're a fan of this show, you better be subscribed to Law Murray of The Athletic. We got to support our media people, our writers, our reporters. Got to. It was good to hear from Law after a game like that. That's significant. So we'll see if that question comes to Coach Lou, because I know a lot of you guys were asking about it. We'll see if it happens. Here was Nikola Jokic and Aaron Gordon post game, and then I'm getting out of here. But if you guys call in 877-520-1150, why is Jokic just fat still up there? That was the last comment I clipped on. I don't want to leave that up there. I have a ton of respect for Nikola Jokic, obviously. So much so that people think I'm a hater by saying that he's the best player in the game. It's kind of obvious. All right, here he was with Aaron Gordon.
I'll start with one for both of you. Aaron, what made you just in the moment want to run straight to the locker room after the dunk? And Nikola looked like you were pretty hesitant about whether he got it off on time. Just what was your confidence that he did make it, and what was going through your head?
I thought the game was over, so I was just trying to get off the court.
I didn't want to have excitement and then go down. So I was just like, I'm just going to keep calm. So that was my approach. I didn't know what happened, to be honest. I thought it was close, but it was really, really close. So
It was.
Somebody.
They're calling this the first playoff buzzer-beating dunk in NBA history. What is it?
Why, basketball gods? Why? Why does it have to happen against the Clippers like this? Oh, I'm sorry.
They're calling this the first playoff buzzer-beating dunk in NBA history. What does it feel like to make a shot like that?
It's a nice pass.
Yes.
So, Joker, was it a pass?
No, it wasn't.
How can you not love Jokic? I don't have much hate for this team. I know they're hating on each other right now. They've been playing each other too much, but how can you not love Jokic? I mean,
was it a pass?
No, it wasn't. Actually, guys, I don't know how you're familiar with EuroLeague. Teodosic made a exact same, like he missed a ball and Josh Chidlers came and picked up and they won Final Four. I think it was semifinals it was CSK against Partizan. Yeah, long time ago. Maybe I can help you guys write the story.
Aaron, where does that rank in terms of bigger shots of your career?
Nice shot. That was a really nice shot.
Great shot. Dude, not a skill with that one.
or else making fun of the question, calling it a shot.
Rank in terms of bigger shots of your career?
Nice shot. That was a really nice shot.
Great shot. Dude, not a skill with that one. It's up there. Honestly, when it comes down to it, just happy we won. That's really what it comes down to.
All right, I guess there is a reason you could hate Jokic, the flopping. We got a phone call here, 877-520-1150. I'm at a Mosland. It's Clippers Talk, late night edition, Clippers Talk after dark. We had Chuck Mockler on earlier. We just had La Murray on. Now we're listening to more post-game audio. Who this? What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Adam. It's Justin Sherman Oaks calling from New York
You called
City.
in earlier, right?
I called you.
I loved your
called
call.
you earlier. Yeah, I mean, it was just super frustrating. Like, I mean, you could just tell right away that it was off, and you're like, when are they going to turn the switch on? It should take like 2 possessions for them to realize, hey, like, let's get after it. But I guess not. I mean, I don't know how that works.
Look. Even if it took 2 quarters, that would have been enough.
Yeah.
Just start fast in the second half and don't wait till the fourth, please.
Yeah. And then what I'll say about what I said on that call is the ending wasn't heartbreaking to me because I never thought they deserved to be in the game. Like they shouldn't have won that game in the first place. I was just more disappointed in their lack of effort than them, having a buzzer beater loss. But
that's fair.
That the players that Ty Lue had in at the end of the game, what that tells me, and I mean, I could be wrong. It just feels like the theme is that nobody was really in the game. Like nobody was.
The game sped up on them.
Yeah,
like when Dave Roberts doesn't make a move, or it's a pitcher too late, or a pitch too late, or something like that. And I know he's a very good manager, but I know how Dodger fans reacted over the last few years. It's a feel thing, or like you're just a little bit behind where the game's at. Now, I will say this, and I think this is fair. For people who just have been giving credit to Jeff Van Gundy all the time for the defense and nobody else, I mean, are you going to put that on him? like the people who hate on Coach Lue and don't give him any credit for anything that goes right and say he's doing nothing on the defensive end for this team and giving all the credit to Jeff Van Gundy, do you also credit him for not having the right guys in there? Like, is that a collaborative thing? I wonder how something like that comes about. I just know maybe what Law said is true. He was just going to go with the guys who got him there, but I think that's a poor decision. Like it's situational basketball at that time.
Yeah, I don't know, and I couldn't pretend to know how that works and what they're even going to end up learning from this game. Is it just like, is it going to be a throwaway for them? Is it going to be there was just no effort or not? There was no sense of urgency and whatever, or are they gonna? Because to me, it's like I can't even take that game seriously enough to get actual to learn anything from it. Besides, wow, we just did not come to play.
I think
one
I
thing that
learned,
wanted to ask you-
and
yeah, go ahead.
I'll get back to you in a second, Justin, because we got all the time in the world. The one thing I would say, and Rick brought this up, my nemesis, who admitted to being wrong about the Clippers earlier, but I thought he brought up a good point on the original call-in show. You know, a game like this tells you that when the Clippers are playing hard, they are the better team. You just have to get to that point of them playing hard. What is it going to take? And it hasn't been a major issue throughout this series or throughout this season. It was just a really bad time for a bad old habit to rear its ugly head where it just looked like they were lifeless out there. And if they just played harder, that could have made the difference. But go on, Justin.
I'll just go off of that, though, because I know one of the things that you've been saying is, oh, people have been feeling way too cocky about this series. Oh, we have it in the bag. And I mean, I still kind of feel that way where it's like, wow, if we just looked, if we just had the fourth quarter intensity the entire game, it's not because your take is, oh, you're underestimating Jokic and the Nuggets that have the same core as a championship team a few years ago. To me, it's just like that was all on us. We've seen from
Okay. But you can say that for 2 games now. They lost game 1. Oh, that's on us. They lost game 4. That's on us. It's like you can't afford to just keep giving games away because you think they're the much more talented team.
Yeah, I mean, game one, I feel like that was a different.
It was different.
I don't really know how
it was different.
Yeah.
But they had a 15-point lead, and they let go of that one somehow. They had multiple stretches in that game. There were 10 minutes of that game where they didn't score. Over 3 different sections of it, you put it together, it's 10 minutes where they didn't score. It was different, but it was the same feeling of, oh, we let that one go. We blew that game. Like, if you get away with blowing 2 games in a series and you win it anyways, like, yes, that does speak to your talent. But if you end up losing that series, it's like, that is a miserable feeling. And that's what I was trying to kind of caution against. Even though the Clippers, you should feel confident. They look like they're the better team. You still have to go out there and play the right way to prove it, or else you have too many of these games that end up being so close that it doesn't matter if you're the better team, because then stuff happens, shit happens, and it's the playoffs and there's wacky just possessions and you're leaving it out. Leave no doubt, as they say in UFC. Don't leave it up to the judges. Like, don't leave it up to chance or a crazy first ever playoff dunk to end a game. Like, don't let that stuff happen. Don't leave it up to that. I don't know. That's how I feel. How do you feel, Justin?
What I wanted to ask you was just the atmosphere of the game before the fourth quarter. So 1, 2, 3, like from. I think just me watching on the TV, like it felt like the game just didn't match the intensity of the moment. And I mean, definitely saw that in the way that they played, but I guess I couldn't really tell what the fan atmosphere was like, if people were into it or if there was just a lull the entire time until the fourth quarter.
I heard, okay, first of all, I know in the first quarter they were very much into it. They were rallying. They were loud. It was noticeable. Was there a dip after that? Probably. I've seen other people talk about that. The Clippers weren't giving them a lot to cheer for, and the game was very clunky, and it didn't have much rhythm to it. It was difficult. It was a tough watch at times. And maybe that did take the crowd out to some extent, but you got to give them something to cheer for as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. This is tough, but all right. I'm gonna head out. My brain is fried too. I gotta go to bed, man.
Yeah, we're all feeling the same right now. I appreciate you, Justin. You got to call in more often.
All right.
I dig your style.
Yeah. Have a good night, Adam.
All right, you too, man. Get some sleep. More from the nightmare. More from Aaron Gordon and Jokic post game.
It comes down to it. Just happy we won. You know, that's really what it comes down to.
Zdrava, Nikola. Hi, Aaron. Sorry, I'm not Serbian. I'm not from Serbia. I'm from Poland. Marta Kiszko, nice to meet you. Guys, I know it's for you the most important miss of your career, probably. It's the most important dunk for you of your career, probably. So what's your mindset right now?
I mean, the series is tied. Like, we're going back to Denver, so I think it's best of three, right? Best of two, best of three. How do you say? So now the series is even, and it's completely different. Everything.
Guys, just to be clear, like I said, you got to give them something to cheer for. I'm not here blaming the crowd. This is on the Clippers. And they showed up early and late, and others are saying outside the third quarter. Jackson said, I still have a headache from screaming. It was loud, but we kind of gave up late in the third quarter. They got down by 20. So just to clear that up. Like, Into a Dome was great. You guys did your job tonight.
Straight ahead.
Aaron, when did you read that it was going to be an air ball, or were you just up there for a tip, or how did you? Because you guys obviously throw a lot of lobs. I don't know if that helped there.
Joker was trying to get to his bag. He was trying to get to that sophomore shuffle. He's made shots like that before. So I'm just trying to clean up everything on the glass. He shot it with enough time to give us a chance to rebound it. And those are like air balls are really hard to defend against, So
air balls are really hard to defend against. It sounds like an oxymoron at first. For the players that are underneath the basket, it's really hard.
Air balls are really hard to defend against, So I was just in the right place at the right time.
The Immaculate Airball.
Aaron, talk me through what went on at the end of the first half. You seemed to be pretty enthusiastic, agitated when Harden put his hands on Joker.
Yeah, I think he was just kind of getting a little bit chippy with CB. I think CB was doing a good job pressuring him. And I can't let nobody step to my young fella, So I was just running, give him back up. It's what playoff basketball is about. You see these teams every day, or like every other day, playing so many times consecutively. Like, it's bound to get chippy. It's bound to get like agitating.
Hi, Aaron.
Kawhi centered. What you must mean is Zubats is a better defender than Jokic. He's not better in any other area. Can he shoot threes? Can he play make and run the entire show? No. Stop the nonsense.
Oh, sorry. Hi. First off, Coach was talking about, your selflessness all the way from Orlando and even right now. And obviously you could see the passion translate onto the floor. Can you talk about where those core values, stem from, and just like being in the moment?
Well, I mean, basketball is a team game, If I wanted to be more selfish or make it about me. I ought to play tennis or fencing or track or which are all great sports, by the way. But I think the beauty horse racing, exactly.
Of course, you brought up horse racing. Jokic just flops. Stop it. Stop it. Jokic is one of the greats. He doesn't just flop. I get it. You hate him. You hate the flopping. Yes, he just flopped his way to 3 regular season MVPs and a championship and a finals MVP. Oh, God help some people here.
Horse racing, exactly. If I wanted to be more selfish or, make it about me, I ought to play tennis or fencing or track or which are all great sports, by the way. But I think the beauty horse racing, exactly. But I think the beauty in basketball is being able to come together as a team and accomplish something. So, yeah, we have a selfish team. Yeah. This guy is the best player in the world, and he's selfish. So, or unselfish, excuse me. Unselfish. So, if he can do it, everybody can do it.
Nicola, to your left.
There's Law.
The fact that all the starters played 40 minutes in this game, knowing that did you feel like you had to get that lead up to 20 to feel good about the effort that you put out in that third quarter?
To be honest, I thought we were really good even in the first half, and we were on the halftime. We talk about oof, it's so close, but we thought we played much better than them in the first quarter, in the first half. So. And I think just the momentum we had in the second half, the beginning of the second half, it just led us to that 20-point lead. So, yes, of course, we want to have a 20-point lead every time, but it's not gonna happen every time.
They thought they played well enough to be up by much more than 2 in the first half. I agree. Clippers got up more shots, though. I'm trying to think what the difference was at that time. The Clippers got up 6 more shots. They had hit 2 more three-pointers. That was kind of it for them being down only by 2 at the half.
Do you guys think the team's performance today had more to do with technical adjustments and strategy or mindset and attitude?
I did not understand one word. Can you say again?
I don't understand this. If Zubac's got the ball more and got the calls Jokic gets, he's averaged more and have better stats. That's just damn truth, Adam. Or it's just truth, Adam. Oh, he'd magically turn into a good three-point shooter if he got more calls? He'd magically have 11 assists per game. He'd magically average a triple-double if he got more calls? Jokic averages a triple-double because he flops? Have you watched basketball before? This is a timeout. It's just, I don't know if it's trolling or not, but it's definitely making the channel dumber.
Please.
Yeah, of course. Do you guys think the team's performance today had more to do with technical adjustments and the strategy or mindset and attitude?
It was It was definitely a little bit of everything, the mindset, the physicality must be there. I think the last game they were definitely, their physicality was up there and our were not. And of course there is little strategy, little tactics that you can throw out there, just to make them feel a little bit uncomfortable or make them feel a little bit different.
Nicola, towards the end of the fourth quarter, you guys began to lose the lead. How did you guys recalibrate together as a team, come back and win the game?
I think we didn't. I think we were just we were losing the whole fourth quarter, and then I think our defensive strategy tactic was kind of falling apart, and we cannot let that happen. I think even I think we kind of had open looks on the offensive side, I think sometimes we were a little bit surprised how open we are, some guys, and it was. I think the defense is something that we need to work on in those last couple minutes where they were really on the run.
I hate the fact they get to work on some of their deficiencies that happened in a win. They get to adjust and got the win. Learning from failure is great. Being able to learn, even in victory, can be even better when you're in a playoff series. That's what hurts. The Clippers threw out the zone. They played that card or moved that piece on the chessboard in the fourth quarter, and it worked, but they lost. So now Denver's going to be more prepared for it. Ugh.
Nicola, what was going through your mind when you let that shot go at the end?
This is going to be bad.
How fast he gets to that answer is amazing.
What was going through your mind when you let that shot go at the end?
This is going to be bad.
Jokic is hilarious.
Last couple minutes where they were really on the run.
Nicola, what was going through your mind when you let that shot go at the end?
This is going to be bad.
Narrator. It was not.
I mean, to be honest, I didn't want to give them enough time to shoot the ball. So,
But you gave Aaron Gordon just enough time to put it in. How?
in my mind, I was just wanted to wait last second and just jack it. So, but I did a couple dribbles, and that was a mistake.
They got away with it.
The last play of the game was obviously not a pass, but it was an example of the connection that you two have on the floor. How do you think?
Jokic snorted and shook his head no.
AG knew where the ball was going to be when you threw it up there, so maybe an example of it. But why do you think you guys have the relationship that you do, both on and off the floor? What's contributed to that?
I thought the ball was going in the booth, Katie, when he shot it. Yeah.
I think it's just experience learning to play with each other, respect each other's space, respect. So it's just chemistry that didn't happen right away. You just work on it, and then sometimes stuff like this happens just because it's natural spot where you be, or the natural maybe the bounce how the ball is gonna bounce off the rim. So it's just lucky, but sometimes it's not lucky, and today was definitely lucky. Thank you guys. Pleasure. Look over.
Today was definitely lucky. For who? When does the hurting stop? Did you guys ever watch Terrible Thunder Lizards? There was a great show on Fox, a cartoon back in the 90s called Eek the Cat. And then there was Terrible Thunder Lizards. And that was like a vignette, or it became its own thing, but it used to be like a short, kind of like where Garfield also had like the Animal Farm episodes too, with all the farm animals. I forget what that was called, but Terrible Thunder Lizards. It was one guy being voiced by Al, who was it? Al Borland from Home Improvement. I think this is his voice here, and he's one of the cavemen that was constantly getting his ass beat by dinosaurs and various things. He was going through a lot of pain, and his catchphrase was, "When does the hurting stop?" Okay, that's not the best example of it. Can I get a better one? Come on. There's kind of theme song. Terrible Thunder Lizards. When does the hurting stop? Well, no sweet without the sour. Hopefully, the Clippers bring us joy in Game 5. Unless somebody's going to call in right now, I'm ending the show. 877-520-1150. I'm cooked. My voice is wrecked. It has been a long day. Worst day in the NBA. Still best day working anywhere else. I'm not complaining. As the old Brian Seaman saying goes. It's frustrating. I think the key is to forget about the final play and just remember how poorly they played the first 3 quarters. That's like the old, I hope the Big Lebowski kills me before the nihilist cut my dick off. It's like, just think about how bad they were the first 3 quarters and ignore the part where they almost won. And then you went through way worse pain because you were teased into thinking they were going to win at the very end. And then the most incredible, craziest ending happened against them. Just think it was over the first 3 quarters. All right. Mystery caller, you're on Clipper Stock with Adam Osland. What's up? What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's up, Adam?
Oh, J-Dog, who I met in person tonight. What up, man?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It was nice meeting you today, Doug.
Nice meeting you too. I wish it was under better circumstances at that time. That was pregame, so.
I know, Adam. And my jersey plan backfired. It's safe to say.
Yeah, you were like, Harden's gonna ball out tonight. I'm wearing his Houston jersey underneath. Check this out.
And in my defense, Adam, I've had that jersey since 2017, 2018, right? So
You've been
I
a
was
Harden
like,
fan.
I thought it would. Yeah, I've always liked Harden, but that one my friend gifted it to me. So yeah, but I've always been a Harden fan. But no, I'm a Clipper fan first. Let's get that straight.
The Denver Nuggets almost gifted a victory to the Clippers in the end, just to then take it right back.
Damn, Adam.
Torture.
It was too good to be true. I was
Yeah,
watching it.
It was a mirage.
I was watching it. Oh my God! I saw that shot he put up. It was horrible. Off the release, I said it. I'm like, oh, that's disgusting. We're going to overtime. And then Aaron Gordon comes out of nowhere and puts it back in. I'm like, damn.
I
And
thought there
said the
was
same thing
no
you just
way
said.
he would have got it in time. Live, I thought there's no way he got that ball out of his hands before the light went off.
And that's exactly what I was saying to the guy next to me. I was like when they were reviewing it, I was like, come on. I'm like, basketball gods, for once, please be on our side, please, and push this OT. But
They stay hating.
you know how basketball gods work with us, Adam.
They're not our friends.
My God.
But maybe
Yeah,
the
I'm-
Clippers have their moment like this coming up, you know? Maybe it'll
No,
be
I
the
agree.
Clippers' turn.
No, I agree, 100%.
I mean, it's not like
I'm
Kawhi.
not-
I mean, he hit a pretty incredible shot. But this was fluky. This was not intelligent designed. It wasn't planned that way by Jokic. It's just the amount of things that had to go right for them on that last shot for it to go in time. It isn't like if we're talking centimeter, millimeter, like if it's a little bit more of an air ball to the left, he probably doesn't get it in time. If it touches or
Literally.
grazes the rim, he doesn't get it in time. There's so many things.
You tell me about it, Adam. And then what can we do about the Rev and Zoo, like the situation with Zoo, because I see him get freaking mauled out there. I don't even want to say hacked. Mauled is the right word. Like on the play that you and Chuck were talking about earlier, where it was 3 players. Aaron Gordon, I saw he fouled him twice clearly, no foul. And then I don't know who else. I know it was Jokic, and I forgot who else was on the help. But they both fouled him as well.
They weren't calling
Turnover,
anything
no foul.
early in the game.
No foul. And that's bullshit. And the only thing that I'm saying about Jokic is, okay, why is Zubac not flopping like that? Why is Zubac not falling to the floor like that?
Because he's an ethical
it's
hooper.
hard to move. Yeah, of course, that too. And because physically and tangibly, it's hard to drop down a fucking 7 foot, 360 plus pound human being. Like Norman Powell's like what, no more than 6'4"? How the hell is Norman Powell gonna drop Jokic to the floor? I've seen it multiple times in this series. Like it's getting out of hand. That's the only thing I can say about Jokic that's been irking me. And it's just, I don't know if he just started it this series, or I don't know if he has a history of doing that. I haven't looked at Jokic too much, but I'm like, it's getting me annoyed, the fact that it's all coming to light in this series. And trust me, Adam, like I'm not the type to say, oh, like that other guy that was saying, oh, all he does is flop. No, I'm not saying that. I still respect his game. He's a hooper. I can't lie about that. But that flopping shit is just annoying. You know, it messes up the game a little.
Yeah. And Denver, somebody else pointed this out. XDB said here, Denver set the tone with the refs. They did. The very first possession, they were so physical.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
you set kind of a standard. Okay, so we're able to play like this, right? This is how physical we can play in this game and not get called for a foul. But in that second quarter, the Clippers definitely got some bad calls going against them. I will say that.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
they were
sure.
trying to play that level of physicality that Denver was in the first quarter, and they didn't let them. Like, it's not the reason they lost the game. It's not the reason. I'm just saying it's an annoying, inconsistent officiating.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say too. To Rugby in the chat. No, we're not. I'm not saying we lost because of the refs. Me and you both, Adam. I've heard you multiple times. You never blame it on the refs. I'm not.
Well, I blame one game
on
on the refs. Game 6, 2002, Kings Lakers. There's at least one game I'll blame on them.
Oh, okay. That's a different story, Adam. That's a completely different story. The day we get screwed over like that, I'm writing a strongly worded freaking letter.
Yeah, so did Ralph Nader at that time. Look it up. He wrote a letter to the NBA. I think he got my vote one year because of that.
I don't blame them. They're playing with our money, Adam. They're playing with our hearts. You know, they're playing with our with our feelings to a certain extent.
You sound like Big Worm. Playing with my money is like playing with my emotions.
Yes, sir. Exactly.
Big Perm. I mean, Big Worm.
Yeah, Big Worm from Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's it. No, I'm not blaming it. I'm not blaming it on the refs at all. But is it okay to say on this one, Adam, that like the refs kind of did alter the game a little bit in favor of the Nuggets? Can we at least say that?
I'll say that they got a better whistle than the Clippers did.
Yeah, for sure. I'm like, I don't think we lost because of the refs. I'm not blaming it on the refs, but it did favor them a little more. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, Clippers did not get a great whistle. I definitely agree there. And not getting a great whistle at home is tough.
Yeah,
but
that's the worst part.
We move. All right, J-Dog. Appreciate you.
Next, Adam. We got it.
Great meeting you. Burn that jersey. It didn't work.
You too. Yeah, I'm not putting that one out again.
I was just kidding. All right, be good, my friend.
And then hold on, Adam. Last thing, and then it's funny because the guy next to me, I went by myself, so I didn't even know him, but the guy next to me, he had a Spurs Kawhi Leonard jersey. So I was like, off the bat, I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be a good game, you know? Like, I got a throwback Leonard jersey right here from the Spurs, and we got a throwback MVP Harden Day jersey right here. Well, we're green today.
Maybe it was like the Kawhi jersey was guarding Harden like he did in a playoff series before when he was a Spur and Harden was a Rocket, and that was the bad juju. I don't know.
I didn't even think about that one. Adam, you're right.
the Spurs jersey shut down your Harden jersey. Oh, brutal. All right,
man.
J-Dog, be good.
All right, Adam, you too. Take care, dog.
We got one last call, and then I'm out. 877-520-1150. Mystery caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I gave you $7. You didn't read one of my super chats. You didn't read one of them.
I honestly didn't see it. You put $7 in earlier. This is Andre 3000. Hold on. Let me introduce you to the audience. Put your cup down. Take a step back. Andre 3000 is his name. A known troll of mine going back like 7 years at least. listener of the F&A podcast with myself and Kevin Figures, New York Knicks fan who said like, oh, we're going to beat up on the Clippers this year. You watch. And they got swept. And he did, to his credit, put some super chats in after the Clippers beat his Knicks. So you put some super chats in tonight, Andre, too?
Yeah,
What
there
did you
were
say?
jokes, but
I honestly didn't even see. So many people are commenting in here, man.
I said Dino Nuggets, Chicken Nuggets, Golden Nuggets, Denver and 6.
Well, that's not very nice. But how much did you give?
No, it's not. that one was $4.99. There was another one that was $1.99.
What was the $1.99 comment?
LOL, brutal L.
See, if some of these people who trolled so hard and said a bunch of stupid S in here did it with a smile and did it with a donation, the best nation is donation here in the super chat, I probably wouldn't block so many people. I probably wouldn't put you in timeout as much if you just actually, to get your smack talk off, you got to at least throw some money my way.
Well, one person's team is leading in a series, the other one isn't. So
yeah,
just let you know that.
Way to go! Don't worry, I'll be there for your downfall with the New York Knicks. Wouldn't you guys end up playing Boston in the next round?
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so we're good. We're confident. Just get past Detroit first. Believe me.
That's not me being confident.
Hey, let me tell you, a 2-1 series lead doesn't mean much in this league. It doesn't.
Yeah, I'm not worried about
Learn
that.
from us. Oh, you're being too cocky.
I'm worried about the Celtics. I'm not worried about Pistons.
People are saying you're paying money to sound like a fool. That's what the chat's saying about you. Andre the Clown, they're calling you.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. Yeah, I think you've given me a lot of money over the
Name one
2
time.
years. So what's $7? When I was your defender, you used to give me $20 and stuff.
Oh, that was pretty good. That
Yep.
was funny.
All right, well, have a good night, man. Go to sleep. You look beat.
Hey, I'm in my prime. Be good, Andre.
Later.
Andre 3000 Ways to Hate on the F&A podcast, and I guess on Clippers Talk now too. But at least you donated. All right, I'm out of here. Can't believe I'm going to listen to Andre and go to sleep. XDB said $199 for what? A dumbbell? It's a dumbbell emoji that's supposed to represent. All right. I appreciate it. You guys keep me going. Thanks a lot, Murray, for coming on. Thanks to Chuck Mockler, who stayed for like an hour. I think we'll have clips and dip tomorrow, it sounds like. Rationale for $199 is crazy. It was Clippers Talk Therapy tonight. I hope you guys were laying down on a brown sofa, just giving over your thoughts, everything in your head that is torturing you right now about this team to, I guess, me, the psychiatrist. I didn't offer much help. Psychologist, I'm not allowed to prescribe anything. I'm not a doctor in any way, shape, or form. Definitely not Dr. Feelgood tonight. I'm sorry. This was a brutal loss. I'll be back tomorrow. This is 204 straight days of Clippers talk. Will I go to In-N-Out Burger on the way home? I don't know. Am I too tired for even that? I gotta catch up on White Lotus. I will talk to you guys tomorrow at some point. I think, I'm not a doctor, but Dr. Shapp is scheduled to come on the show from 213 Hoops. Dr. Shapp will be on, a real doctor. We'll talk with him. There's your therapy. That's all you need. All right? It's all coming together. There's a reason I booked him yesterday. I knew a extremely painful loss was coming. So the doctor will be in session. And is there a doctor in the house? Yes, we will have one for you tomorrow. Talk to you guys then.
Off the air.